We are live at O'Gorman High School in the center of Sioux Falls for a doubleheader between the two oldest high schools in town. It's the O'Gorman Knights and the Washington Warriors. The girls, then the boys at the Knight Gymnasium. And we start with the girls. John Gaskins with you at O'Gorman, where tonight for the girls, we have the number 1 and number 2 teams in the state. O'Gorman is 16-0, has won 40 games in a row, the last couple of state championships, while the Warriors are 12-2, coming off just their second loss of the season earlier this week against Brandon Valley. And let's take a look inside the Knight Gymnasium as the teams warm up. The fans are filing in. The oldest public high school and the oldest private high school in the state of South Dakota, in the city of Sioux Falls. And these two girls programs have combined for each of the last 4 state championships, and they've just been going back and forth. Washington in 21, O'Gorman in 22, Washington in 23, and O'Gorman last year. And the Knights are still sitting atop despite losing one of the best players in state history in point guard Molly Abdouche. We've got so much more to get ready for with this particular matchup, but let's look outside of our bubble tonight and see what's going on around the rest of the state in AA basketball. It's brought to you by Augustana University, where you can find your bold. We have Brookings visiting Jefferson tonight. Shantiva Pruitt's crew continuing to improve. 5th-ranked Rapid City Stevens finally cracking those rankings after playing some good basketball all season long. And the Raiders are hosting winless Yankton. Meanwhile, Harrisburg scrounging around at 7-7 at Rapid City Central tonight. And the Roosevelt girls, a couple years ago a team that just won 1 game, is hosting Watertown. The Arrows come in at 5-10. And now the look at our polls. The top 5 polls brought to you by Touch Market All Saints. The Knights sit atop. Washington number 2, Brandon Valley number 3. It's going to be very interesting amongst these 3 squads, depending on what happens here tonight. If Washington can get the win, they may solidify second place, even though they just lost to Brandon Valley. They might prevent the flip should they be the first team to beat O'Gorman this year. If the Knights lose this game, we should expect them to stay number 1. They still have beaten both Washington and Brandon Valley this year, but then they will have split the season series with Washington. It does feel like you have these 3 programs a cut above everybody else, and that's been the case for the last 4 or 5 years in girls AA basketball in South Dakota. But Mitchell is certainly emerging at 13-3, and Rapid City Stevens, always a team that can make noise once we get to the state tournament, especially when it is in Rapid City and the home crowd can get behind the Raiders, and that will be the case this upcoming March 11th through the 16th. And so now we've taken a look at what's going on in the rest of the state. We can take it right back to here in Sioux Falls, and we will have our team profiles, our players to watch, and our Vern ID keys to the game, all when our pregame show continues on our Avera Game of the Week, the Knights and the Warriors from O'Gorman on Metro Sports TV.
Banking isn't just about financial products. It's about service and what we can do for you. Those personal touches are at the core of who we are at Central Bank. Decisions are made locally by people who get to know you. And while a lot has changed since 1877, we're still committed to our customers and to being the best bank in every community we serve. Central Bank, member FDIC.
Jackrabbits don't wait to see what the future holds. They build it. At South Dakota State University, the next generation's leaders are preparing to launch. They're focusing on growth, and they're reaching new heights of excellence across vital industries. SDSU is building something greater for South Dakota and the world. Join us.
Josh and Emily are visiting Emily's parents this weekend, where Josh will propose. He's nervous, but not about the ring, Well done, Josh. Well done. Chase is proposing to Ashley at the resort where they first met. Ashley was vacationing with friends, but Chase ended up being her best friend of all. Plus some. Every diamond tells a story, but there's no story like yours. And there's no diamond like a Greenberg's diamond. Greenberg's Jewelers, a cut above the rest.
In nursing, where you work matters. At Avera, we build Team Green around you, with a culture that values and supports you. Leaders who listen and care about your success. And benefits to reward the great work you do. The grass is greener at Avera. So join Team Green. Learn more at avera.org/careers.
Experience it all. Follow your academic and career goals and your love for the arts, music, and competition that thrills you. Learn from award-winning faculty and in classes where you are more than a number. Build lifelong friendships at game day experiences and in student organizations for all interests. At Augustana, you don't have to choose. Live and learn in the heart of South Dakota's largest city, where job opportunities, networks of professionals, and a hometown feel await you. Find your bold at Augustana University.
Starting the first bank in South Dakota was the easy part, earning the confidence of local farmers, helping families account for their dreams, and securing the future for countless businesses took us a little longer. We owe it to the hard workers, big dreamers, and forward thinkers out there. Thank you for making South Dakota a great place to call home.
Number 1 O'Gorman hosting number 2 Washington. It's our Avera game of the week, high school hoops in Sioux Falls on a Friday night on Metrosports.tv and DakotaNewsNow.com. I'm John Gaskins. Tip-off is under 5 minutes away, and it's time now to look at our team profiles, brought to you by South Dakota State University. Once again, the top 2 teams in the state, and each team having won 2 of the last 4 state championships. And when it comes to the road team from Washington, sporting a 13-2 record, ranked number 2 in the state, losing at number 3 Brandon Valley, a hard-fought game, 69-62. On Tuesday night, the Warriors averaged 59 a game and give up just 40, and they have some athletes, no fewer than 4 players that have committed to play college hoops. Jamie Parrish, the head coach, says his team has improved a lot since last year's 9-12 squad that did not reach the state tournament. The returning kids have taken on bigger roles. The newcomers are able to contribute and mix well with the older kids, and defensively, again, 40 points per game. Very, very solid at Washington. Offensively, good, but looking to improve if they want to actually win another state title. Jamie Parrish, now in his 11th year, has taken home 3 crowns, including 2 of the last 4. For O'Gorman, I mean, this is the juggernaut of South Dakota high school hoops. Boys or girls, 16-0 this year, 40 straight wins, back-to-back, well, actually not back-to-back. They won state titles in 2022 and 2024, and they have beaten each of the other 3 best teams in the state, the other 2 of the 3 best 3. They beat Brandon Valley 53-43 in game number 1, and then they beat Washington in this head-to-head matchup on January 14th, 70-53. Kent Kolsrud's squad is dominant, averaging 66 points a game, giving up just 38, and they have yet to have a game this year that has been decided by single digits. That 10-point win over Brandon Valley to open the season is the closest anyone has come. It's an athletic squad that can score in bunches. They do what they do under Kent Kolsrud now. He's been there for 29 years. The full court press, the 2-3 zone, and both of those things hound teams into mistakes and giving O'Gorman an up and down the floor attack that very few can ever stop. Meanwhile, our Central Bank players to watch tonight, well, there's quite a few when you have 2 teams that are this good, this talented. For Washington, Grace Peterson leads their scoring attack. A senior at 6 feet tall, signed on to play D2 hoops at Augustana right here in Sioux Falls, averaging 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals per game, and she drains over 40% of her three-point shots. A look at the Knights running across the court to their bench. Our player to watch for O'Gorman tonight is Sydney Terveen, their leading scorer at 15 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. So she is a multi-tool player, and she has gotten hot from behind the arc. She has made 28 three-pointers this season. Somebody had to pick up that scoring load after the absence of Molly Abdouche, 4-year player, set the school scoring record and is now at South Dakota State, but the Knights are clearly in good hands with Sydney Terveen and Julia Agert in the post leading the charge. We're just a couple minutes away from tip-off. We'll have our Vern Ide keys to the game, and then the game. Number 1 O'Gorman and number 2 Washington next on our Avera Game of the Week.
Finding a place to belong is everything. It's where you can make a difference, where you're heard, where you have a team that supports you and the benefits you deserve. At Avera, you can find that place. You belong at Avera. Apply today. Avera.org/careers.
Experience it all. Follow your academic and career goals and your love for the arts, music, and competition that thrills you. Learn from award-winning faculty and in classes where you are more than a number. Build lifelong friendships at game day experiences and in student organizations for all interests. At Augustana, you don't have to choose. Live and learn in the heart of South Dakota's largest city, where job opportunities, networks of professionals, and a hometown feel await you. Find your bold at Augustana University.
Starting the first bank in South Dakota was the easy part, earning the confidence of local farmers, helping families account for their dreams, and securing the future for countless businesses took us a little longer. We owe it to the hard workers, big dreamers, and forward thinkers out there. Thank you for making South Dakota a great place to call home.
Jackrabbits don't wait to see what the future holds. They build it. At South Dakota State University, the next generation's leaders are preparing to launch. They're focusing on growth, and they're reaching new heights of excellence across vital industries. SDSU is building something greater for South Dakota and the world. Join us.
Make Dakota News Now part of your morning routine. Eric Thorstensen gives you the latest headlines and breaking news you need to know before you walk out the door. And Aaron Doudna has your first alert forecast so you can plan for the day, and several days in advance with our 10-day forecast. Get up-to-the-minute news and weather and start your day with a little fun. Every weekday morning from 5 to 7 on Dakota News Now.
Number 1 versus number 2, the best rivalry in girls high school basketball in South Dakota, about to write another chapter in the Knight Gymnasium. The top-ranked O'Gorman Knights at 16-0 and on a 40-game win streak dating back to the beginning of last year's state championship run, hosting number 2 Washington. The Warriors come in at 12-2. It's a rematch of a January 14th O'Gorman win at Washington by 17, 70-53. I'm John Gaskins along with Chad Berger and crew. Here are our Vern Ide keys to the game, starting with O'Gorman. And this is nothing new. This is how the Knights play ball. They wear you down with their full court pressure and their 2-3 zone. And meanwhile, Washington can't fall behind. They have to get out of the blocks, make some early shots on the road, build the confidence, stay with O'Gorman as long as they can, because most teams don't. The closest anyone has come to O'Gorman this year was Brandon Valley. In Game 1, the Lynx fell short by 10 points. No single-digit victories for the Knights yet this year. The Starting lineups have been introduced for Washington and the Warriors, led by Grace Peterson at 12 points per game, and Augustana Viking to be. 3 other players in this Washington rotation are going to be playing college basketball. And meanwhile, the Knights have a bunch of stellar players who were very, very talented and accomplished early in their careers, and now they're the leaders of the squad. The likes of Julia Agert in the post, Sydney Terveen playing the point and out on the wings. Ruby Moore will be actually playing point most of the time, and she's the 3rd member of the Moore family to come here through O'Gorman. The first 2, Lucy and Izzy, are at Northern State. O'Gorman, even though school colors are navy blue and white, they don the white and the green tonight, which is tradition when they play home games against Washington, the oldest rivalry in the city. It used to be Sioux Falls High School, now it's Washington. And O'Gorman, of course, used to be Cathedral High School. They were both downtown. And as you see, the Warriors can't quite keep the ball in bounds off the tip, so O'Gorman gets the ball to start things off. Knights have been on a tear, averaging 66 points, giving up just 38 a game. The Warriors, well, they score 51, give up 39. And here's a 3 to start the game, right out there on the wing for Sydney Terveen. It bobbles out. And here comes Washington. There's that double team right there on Claire Woods, and Woods, so frustrated, falls down, throws it off of one of the Knights, and is able to keep the ball for Washington. But the Warriors are going to have 3 seconds now to get this thing across the timeline. This stifling full-court pressure just rattles the opponents. And I guess Washington does have a little bit more. They do it. Peterson, tried to bounce it down low to Tierney Schramm, and instead it's ripped away off the foot. And here comes Julia Agert going coast to coast to lay it in. Tierney Schramm, who was the intended receiver on that pass, was calling for a kick ball. And meanwhile, Claire Woods, second straight time she is tied up by the Knights off the inbounds pass, and a jump ball is called. Washington possession. And this is what we talked about when we said Washington needs to get off to a good start. Agert gets the tip to steal, and up ahead. It took a while, but Terveen gets it to go. It is 4-0. O'Gorman with the lead. And finally, the Warriors able to get it cleanly across. Now Woods driving on a triple team, and here comes Julia Agert down the lane. The ball goes off her leg, and Washington gets it, but sometimes it feels like it's 5-on-7 when you're playing the O'Gorman Knights. The bodies are everywhere on the defense in your way. Grace Peterson blocked by Ruby Moore out on the perimeter. And the Knights have a long launch down the court. And then Julia Agert is fouled by Grace Peterson, hurrying down to keep up. So they get the block shot, and then they just run like crazy down the court. And the first foul of the game is on Washington's Rylan Kinnett, new starter, a junior. And meanwhile, the first free throw goes down for Julia Agert. 5'10" senior forward. She'll be playing college ball, and her second free throw is in, and it's a 6-0 O'Gorman lead. So here we go. Buckle your seatbelts. Warriors get it across. Second time in 4 tries. Woods hauls in a high pass. Now it's underneath, and a blocking foul is whistled on O'Gorman's Kyra Hermanson, a senior, cracking the starting lineup. 1 foul apiece. Woods the inbounds pass. And inside. It's an open look. Just inside and beating the defense. Rylan Kinnett gives Washington its first 2 points. The Warriors put on a little pressure. And then Claire Woods gets a hand on the pass in the lane, ripped off by Peterson. Here comes Washington, down 6-2. The ball goes off the foot of Kinnett, and now it's wrestled for with Sadie Merman. And the jump ball goes to O'Gorman. It really is 32 minutes of pure HE double hockey sticks when you try to get down the court on the O'Gorman Knight girls. They've won 40 in a row, averaging 28 points per victory in the 16-0 start this year. Agert, hounded by Woods, who apparently reached in the cookie jar, and Claire Woods has Washington's second team foul. 2 minutes in, and it's 6-2 Knights. Some classic knockdown, drag-out battles between these two schools over the last 5 years, including back-to-back state semifinal games, 2021 in the Pentagon in Sioux Falls, 2022 out in Rapid City. And we have an O'Gorman foul on offense. An offensive foul, an illegal screen, and it goes against Kyra Hermanson. So 2 fouls each. And the first sub comes in for O'Gorman. It's Abby Makuska. Woods, the senior point guard. Played a lot as a sophomore, started as a junior last year. Has the ball again at the top. She's going to be off to Gustavus Adolphus University in St. Peter, Minnesota, Division III school. And here's a drive, and a miss, and another miss. Dana Harp getting tied up. She'll be a University of Sioux Falls player next year. And a 3 coming from Ruby Moore, and she knocks it down. 9-2 Knights with the lead, and Ruby Moore with her first 3 of the game. Claire Woods trying to dribble out of the pressure. And then you try to get ahead of the defense and they just tip it. But here's an open 3. You gotta knock those down. And the Warriors do. Josie Beitler, 5'9" freshman with a big time shot. Cut the lead down to 4, and then Claire Woods forces a turnover. If there is one player on the Warriors, and I'm not saying there's only one, but one player who can match the intensity, weather the storm of the O'Gorman Knights defense and just the way they rattle most squads, and chiefly, starting with point guards, it's Claire Woods. 2-3 zone. Washington a chance to cut this down to 2, maybe 1. Peterson, their best player. Back to Woods. Look at how quickly the Knights get a double team on almost every receiver when they haul in the pass, if they can haul it in. And it goes out of bounds. It remains with Washington. Knight Gymnasium, about 3/4 full. 6 o'clock tip. Another pass tipped by Ruby Moore, but it is hauled in. And Woods cannot beat the shot clock. It runs out. The Knights with another stingy defensive possession, and the score remains 9-5. So many things you have to be aware of that you don't even think about in most games when you take on O'Gorman. Moore with the head fake on Peterson. Washington in a 2-3 zone. Agert missed it from the free throw line, and the Warriors get the ball, and Woods is the right player to have in her hands. Into the corner for Peterson. A little strong. Peterson hauls it back in. Up ahead. Oh, the bunny is missed, but a foul. So Washington will go to the line. They now have Levi Berthe in there. She missed the short shot on a great pass and an awesome look. But Dana Harp hauled in the rebound. She's the younger sister of Brooklyn and Hannah Harp. They're both University of Sioux Falls Cougars. And the foul was drawn on O'Gorman's Abby Makuska off the bench. Inbounds pass too high for Peterson. Through her hands, out of bounds. Everything is magnified. Everything is hard. Inbounds passes. Entry passes. They're all in danger of a Knight hand getting on the ball. Peyton Peterson off the bench for O'Gorman to Moore, and a nice little Mid-range J is in. Ruby Moore helping that part of basketball stay alive. And she now has 5 points to lead all scorers. It's 11-5 O'Gorman. Here comes the pressure. Washington able to get ahead of it. Kinnett. Oh, what a move. Right around Sydney Terveen, and Rylan Kinnett has her third and fourth points. It's an 11-7 game. Warriors staying right with the number one team in the state. Inside 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Peterson. And now a double team in the corner. Makuska able to get out of trouble. Here's a three on the wing. Terveen can't knock it down, and the rebound goes to Kinnett. Long outlet. And the Warriors try to get ahead of the press. A reverse lay-in can't go down. Berthe gets the rebound. Quick ball movement. Peterson for three. Not quite. 0 of 2. Another offensive rebound. A left elbow pull-up is missed. And it goes out of bounds to O'Gorman. 2:14 remaining first quarter. Washington has scored on 3 of its first 9 or so possessions, but the Warrior defense keeping them in it. This is a Washington squad averaging 51 points a game, super athletic team. Would like to get more shots to go down as things gear up for the state tournament in March. Here's Ruby Moore, right past 2 Warriors, and easily moving on in for the left-handed shot to fall on the glass. 13-7 O'Gorman with the lead. And now Woods had the ball stripped from behind, but she was also fouled from behind by Sadie Merman. So O'Gorman with 4 team fouls. And this one is actually whistled on Ruby Moore. That's her first. And the Warriors with another opportunity. Woods down low to Kinnett, and she gets fouled on her double team. Calling it tight. It is a push, and it's another foul on Ruby Moore, which is something O'Gorman obviously does not want. Very poised player in the backcourt. Fifth-team foul on O'Gorman, and Kinnett to the line to shoot a pair. And the lefty nails the first. Rylan Kinnett, a 67% free throw shooter. Honorable mention, all-conference player last year in the Metro, and a Briar Cliff commit. She'll be playing college ball about an hour south in Sioux City. So after an early 4-0 O'Gorman lead, the Warriors matching the Knights point for point. 13-9. Here's a launch and a make for Sadie Merman. Nice pickup for the O'Gorman Knights program this offseason. Her brother played for Harrisburg, and Jacoby, one of the better players in the state, now at USF. And meanwhile, a baseline drive for Grace Peterson, 16-11. So the Warriors able to answer, keep this thing in striking distance. Just over a minute left in the first, but a beautiful pass. Moore laid a dime right down low, catching the defense sleeping. Ellie Meyer off the bench with her first bucket. It's a 7-point game. Peterson, there's a chance at a 2-on-1. Now a bounce pass too strong in the lane. Ripped off by Terveen. Ahead to Eggert. Woods got a hand on it. Eggert now trying to recover. Moore for 3. Not quite. And the Warriors dodged that bullet. Still a 7-point O'Gorman lead. Pass too strong. Moore intercepts it. Another jumper. Merman back to back. She looks like her brother when she shoots. And it's 20-11 O'Gorman. Just like that. A 7-2 run in the last minute. Woods gets out of trouble. Oh, a beautiful pass fake by Washington. Josie Beitler, a freshman, with a beautiful move, but she is stymied underneath, and the ball goes out of bounds. Nice defensive play by Ellie Meyer. A couple underclassmen going at it. And so Woods the inbounds for Washington. 16 on the shot clock inside. Bertay can't quite get it to go. And Eggert able to pick it up for O'Gorman. Down to 7 seconds. Moore. Out to the wing. Long three, Terveen. In and out. And that'll do it for the first quarter. O'Gorman gave Washington some panic attacks and leads the Warriors 20-11 in the battle of number 1 versus number 2. Second quarter, a minute away on our Avera Game of the Week.
Has more than 40 years of experience providing great hospitality and focusing on providing seniors the full life. We have restaurant-style dining. We have a health and fitness club, wonderful life enrichment activities. We have wonderful team members who are here to be your support systems and your friends. Health services care team members who will help you in any level of care, assisted living, and then 2 levels of memory care and early memory care support. All of those things are at your fingertips when you're here at All Saints.
Banking isn't just about financial products. It's about service and what we can do for you. Those personal touches are at the core of who we are at Central Bank. Decisions are made locally by people who get to know you. And while a lot has changed since 1877, we're still committed to our customers and to being the best bank in every community we serve. Central Bank, member FDIC.
1 quarter down, 7 to go in our doubleheader. The oldest rivalry in Sioux Falls, the Washington Warriors and the O'Gorman Knights. We are in the Knight Gymnasium in the heart of Sioux Falls, and the top-ranked Lady Knights, number 1 in the state, 40 wins in a row, on top by 9. Washington coming off a loss to number 3 Brandon Valley on Tuesday night. Tough week for the Warriors. Dana Harp inside, and she is stuffed by Julia Eggert. Great battle down low between a couple of the state's best post players. And so Claire Woods will inbound it for Washington. Canet up top to Peterson. 2-3 zone as always for O'Gorman. Peterson flies it back over into the corner. Canet can't knock it down. Rebound goes to Bertay. She throws it right to Moore. And now Ruby Moore one-on-one with Woods. Right past her. What a move to her left. Ruby Moore so far the top entertainer in this ball game. She has 9 early points. It's 22-11. When it comes to high school basketball, athletic families with outstanding players is the gift that keeps on giving, and the Moore family has given Kent Kolsrud and O'Gorman three of the Moores. Ruby the youngest, Izzy the middle. And here's a steal by Merman up ahead. Ruby Moore didn't have the numbers, up top to Eggert, and now Terveen. Oh, what a pass down low to Eggert, the give and go. Eggert laying it in. Terveen with the beautiful ball movement. And Julia Eggert now has 6. It's 24-11. Washington in bad need of a bucket. Peterson, the beautiful turnaround. That goes in and out. Cadet, check that. Moore fights for the rebound and lays it in. It's Harp. Third time's a charm. It's 24-13. Look how quickly O'Gorman got the ball down the court, but this time it doesn't pay off. Bertay the steal. Bertay decides she doesn't have the numbers, and so the Warriors set up their offense. Claire Woods, not a prolific three-point shooter, fakes the take. Now Peterson launches and strikes. Grace Peterson with her first 3 points of the game. That's her 20th tray of the year, and the lead is down to 8. So Washington's trying to stack defensive possessions. They're now in a 1-3-1 zone, it appears. And a 3-ball from the right wing. Moore knocks it down. Ruby Moore came to play tonight. Like she walked in here with Ruby slippers. It's a dozen. And then Washington can't control off the inbound. They do get the ball back. 27-16 O'Gorman with the lead, and very much looking like the state's strong number 1 team. While the Knights play Washington twice, they will not play Brandon Valley a second time in the regular season. And we're talking about the round robin of the 3 best teams in girls AA basketball in South Dakota. Knet knocks it down, gets the lead back down to single digits. Rylan Knet has connected for 7. Washington will not go away. Moore has the hot hand. Instead, it's Peterson. Oh, faked out Woods. Help came in, and Peterson still knocked it down. Dana Harp came in to try to misdirect things. That's Tyler Mooney, by the way. I'm having flashbacks to a player that looks a lot like Tyler Mooney the last couple of years for O'Gorman. Peyton Peterson no longer with the Knights. 3-ball missed. And then Terveen falls down, but Meyer picks it up ahead for O'Gorman. And Mooney, whose brother played for the Knights boys a couple years ago, takes a 3-ball. Can't get the friendly bounce off the glass. And the Warriors' Dana Harp gets the board. 10-point lead for O'Gorman, 4 minutes plus to go in this first half. And Woods with a beautiful drive and pull-up to take this thing back down to 8. Claire Woods with her first 2. Makuska working nicely around Tierney Schramm to bank home another easy bucket. And O'Gorman back up by 10. Warriors have done a nice job with a full court press. And really they've had a bunch of nice looks. They have not knocked enough down. But they're starting to get warmer. There's a mid-range J. Rylan Knet, smooth as silk, has 9. Back to an 8-point lead, and now a double team in the corner. And the Knights try to fight their way out of it. And Kent Kolsrud from way down the sideline calls a timeout. 3:31 remaining, second quarter. And it's O'Gorman 31, Washington 23. It's a 30-second timeout, so we keep it right here. The boys' game to follow on our Avera Games of the Week here on DakotaNewsNow.com and MetroSports.tv. Both O'Gorman and Washington come into this game 11-5. And just trying to jockey for position to sew up a top 8 seed so they can have a home game in the SODAC 16. And when that is the case, all you need is one home win, and you're in the state tournament. Or one road win. It's a one-round thing. And a top 8 spot not necessarily locked up yet. So even though both of those squads are kind of wrestling for the number 5 seed lately, this game will go a long way. Meanwhile, it's number 1 versus number 2 in the girls' game, and O'Gorman, the number 1, up by 8 off the timeout. 3:20 remaining in the first half. Merman denied the baseline. Back up top. Agard in the jungle. Now Merman's open, but it's short. Terveen the rebound. Can't get the left-handed putback. Oh, wow. We had some flying arms, some physicality battling for the board. It's a foul on Washington. And it's on Grace Peterson. Those are the flying arms I was primarily talking about, and the future Augustana Viking with her first foul. The first for either team in this quarter. We played almost 5 minutes of the second quarter, and neither team has been whistled for a foul. So the Knights with another opportunity to go back up by double digits. Moore fended off. Terveen missed the 3, and it's out of bounds to Washington. 31-23, the Knights with the lead. Inside 3 minutes to go in this first half. Dana Harp in, Claire Woods out for Washington. So how will the Warriors handle the ball without their primary ball handler in the game for the first time? We're finding out in real time. They do it. And in fact, they have an open player. And they find Peterson open at the top. Can't knock it down. Warriors are getting some O-boards, but the putback won't go for Cadet. And now Agert comes up with it and out of it for O'Gorman. And we have a 2-on-1. And Agert has a clear path to the lay-in. It's 33-23. Warriors stay ahead of that full court press. Peterson to Harp, easy lay-in. And even though Washington can't quite get a run going to get this down below 8, they still are not letting the Knights pull away. I mean, by now, a lot of times, 2 minutes left in the first half, the game's almost over, or already over for O'Gorman. Agert was able to beat everyone to her own rebound and then position herself for a few feet away. An open knockdown. Speaking of knocking it down, Peterson gets it right back to 8. These two teams have been going back and forth the last few minutes. Moore tied up on the baseline. Washington fans wanted an out-of-bounds call. Meanwhile, an open 3 missed by Merman, but tracked down. And now we have a step on the line on the rebound attempt. And the ball goes back to Washington as Kyra Hermanson couldn't quite corral it. So what will Jamie Parrish's squad do? Down by 8, 96 seconds left in the first half. Can they find their way back to within 2 possessions? Peterson's the best bet to do it, and she knocks it down the baseline. Got herself in position. I know Kent Colstrid's not going to be thrilled about Grace Peterson getting loose like that, but those are the risks you take when you constantly full court press. 6-point game. Big defensive opportunity for Washington. And they're able to get a block on Hermanson without a foul on Merman, I should say. But then Hermanson comes up with a rebound and gets shoved to the ground. And so we have our second foul of the quarter, and it's a push on Washington's Josie Beitler, the freshman. So a fresh 35 for the Knights, up by 6. Washington in a 2-3 zone. Agert high post. Tries to move that shot around her defender and can't. And now another foul. This time on O'Gorman. So it's getting chippy down there. Julia Agert with her first. O'Gorman's first of the second quarter. And we have a minute to play. Washington down by just 6. They're not going to take much time. They're going to go right at it. And Dana Harp right down Broadway lays it in. It's a 4-point game. Washington on a 6-0 run. And O'Gorman almost lost the ball again. Here's Terveen, the pull-up in the lane. Peterson battling for it. Agert, and it goes off of Agert. And now Washington, a chance to make this a one-possession game. The lead's been as many as 11 for the Knights. Woods. Oh, beautiful passing, but Layla Berthe was not ready for it underneath. Washington has done a terrific job of breaking the press most of the night, but you gotta finish. So the shot clock is off, and O'Gorman has the ball. Terveen, their leading scorer. Now Merman, who's knocked down a couple big shots. Moore, who has a dozen points, down to 7. Moore forced out to the wing. Now Moore gets it to Hermanson. She's triple teamed. Up top, Terveen at the buzzer. No. Excellent defensive possession for Washington. And the Warriors go into the locker room with the momentum. A 6-0 run to end the first half, but the Knights have the lead. They're going after their 41st consecutive win in South Dakota AA high school ball. The number 1 O'Gorman Knights leading number 2 Washington 35-31 at the break. We'll have some highlights and some stats on our halftime show. And we'll get you ready for the boys game as well next on our Avera Game of the Week.
Finding a place to belong is everything. It's where you can make a difference, where you're heard, where you have a team that supports you, and the benefits you deserve. At Avera, you can find that place. You belong at Avera. Apply today. Avera.org/careers.
Experience it all. Follow your academic and career goals and your love for the arts, music, and competition that thrills you. Learn from award-winning faculty and in classes where you are more than a number. Build lifelong friendships at game day experiences and in student organizations for all interests. At Augustana, you don't have to choose. Live and learn in the heart of South Dakota's largest city, where job opportunities, networks of professionals, and a hometown feel await you. Find your bold at Augustana University.
Starting the first bank in South Dakota was the easy part, earning the confidence of local farmers, helping families account for their dreams, and securing the future for countless businesses took us a little longer. We owe it to the hard workers, big dreamers, and forward thinkers out there. Thank you for making South Dakota a great place to call home.
Jackrabbits don't wait to see what the future holds. They build it. At South Dakota State University, the next generation's leaders are preparing to launch. They're focusing on growth, and they're reaching new heights of excellence across vital industries. SDSU is building something greater for South Dakota and the world. Join us.
Make Dakota News Now part of your morning routine. Eric Thorstensen gives you the latest headlines and breaking news you need to know before you walk out the door. And Aaron Doudna has your first alert forecast so you can plan for the day, and several days in advance with our 10-day forecast. Get up-to-the-minute news and weather and start your day with a little fun. Every weekday morning from 5 to 7 on Dakota News Now.
This guy had more issues with his eyes. The minute he first came out of surgery, he walked in with a huge grin on his face, and for the first time since he was a little kid, he could see perfect.
Going to Vance Thompson Vision was an easy experience. If you're going to trust your eyes to anybody, trust them to a leader in that field.
When it came time for me to make a decision about where we were going to go for my LASIK surgery, there was no question that it would be Vance Thompson Vision.
Number 1, O'Gorman leading number 2, Washington, 35-31. Just the kind of showdown we were expecting tonight at the Knights Gymnasium in Sioux Falls. John Gaskins with your Avera Game of the Week, Metrosports.tv, DakotaNewsNow.com. We like points in the 30s by halftime in any walk of basketball, but certainly girls high school basketball, so there's plenty of highlights to get to. We'd love to see some of them. The Knights, as usual, starting things and controlling things with a full court press and got out to an early lead. Ruby Moore with 3 of her 12 points and 1 of her 2. First Dakota 3-point makes of the night. The Warriors had some tough sledding early on with the full court press, but then they settled in. They started to knock down some First Dakota threes. They've had a balanced scoring attack so far. Our Vance Thompson Vision replay showing the kind of way the Knights can work it in the half-court game. And they're not just deadly, a one-trick pony with the full-court transition game. Ruby Moore found herself open for a mid-range jumper. And here's another example of the marksmanship. Sadie Merman, a pickup over the summer for the Knights, knocking down that First Dakota three-pointer. A little bit later on, Moore with one of the best moves of the game. Had Claire Woods right in her face, faked the move right, went left. Just a pretty little play, a move that you don't see everybody make. And meanwhile, Washington at times down double digits in this first half, finding Grace Peterson. And when she gets open, she is helping. The Augustana Viking-to-be has 7 points in this first half. And Washington has crept back from a 10-point deficit with just a couple minutes left in the first half. Ruby Moore doing more damage with a First Dakota 3-point make, but the Warriors go on a 6-0 run to end the first quarter of play, and they get it outside, and Rylan Canet showing the kind of talent we're going to be expecting more out of. She's got one more year after this one. Washington, the number 2 team in the state, at 12-2 coming in, trailing the undefeated Knights on a 40-game win streak. It is 35-31. OG has had 3 First Dakota three-pointers in the first half, and 2 of 2 on free throws. The Warriors have not shot a free throw, and they too have knocked down 3 three-pointers. So it is the formula that we usually see. It's O'Gorman dictating things with their press. How well does the other team handle it? Washington, pretty darn well. They are right there, one half into this game. But the second half will be their biggest test, and we'll have it for you. The second half, and then the boys' game, Washington and O'Gorman. It's all coming your way on our Rivera Game of the Week on Metrosports.tv and DakotaNewsNow.com.
For to have cloudy vision flying an aircraft, you have to have perfect vision. It's vital. I came here 4 years ago, Advanced Thompson Vision, and had my first light adjustable lens. About 5 weeks ago I came and had the second one done. It's just the technology is out of this world. It's outstanding, you know. There's nothing else like it in the world. But even if I could get it done in Dubai or Tokyo or Singapore, I wouldn't do it except here. Only Advanced Thompson Vision.
Here at Touchmark at All Saints, you're going to be surrounded by history.
When you drive up to our community, you are impressed by the beautiful campus all around. This community is a combination of the old and the new. The old on the exterior, but your apartments are impressive. I've never been so pampered in my life.
So it's the combination of both the history and modernization that makes it fun and enjoyable.
Starting the first bank in South Dakota was the easy part, earning the confidence of local farmers, helping families account for their dreams, and securing the future for countless businesses took us a little longer. We owe it to the hard workers, big dreamers, and forward thinkers out there. Thank you for making South Dakota a great place to call home.
Experience it all. Follow your academic and career goals and your love for the arts, music, and competition that thrills you. Learn from award-winning faculty and in classes where you are more than a number. Build lifelong friendships at game day experiences and in student organizations for all interests. At Augustana, you don't have to choose. Live and learn in the heart of South Dakota's largest city, where job opportunities, networks of professionals, and a hometown feel await you. Find your bold at Augustana University.
We all have dreams. At South Dakota State University, we dare to dream big. From the arts to the sciences, students and faculty discover what is possible and solve complex problems, challenging ourselves to think differently and impact our world. With SDSU, reaching to the stars starts on solid ground. Experience our elevated approach to education that prepares students to walk toward their future and build something greater. What does first...
Number 1 versus number 2, as it should be. Close. At the Knight Gymnasium, 41st and Kiwanis in Sioux Falls. Another chapter in the oldest rivalry in high school basketball in the city. The former Sioux Falls High School, now Washington. The number 2 team in the state, trailing the top-ranked O'Gorman Knights, formerly Cathedral High School. Both of those high schools were downtown. They have now moved elsewhere. O'Gorman here in the early 1960s, from Cathedral to O'Gorman. And so the Knights will always wear green in home sporting events against the Washington Warriors to honor the Cathedral tradition. Second half starts in a 4-point lead for the state's number 1 team, and Ruby Moore almost got things going right away. She got her own rebound off the 3 miss, and now cutting the baseline. Terveen lays it in. Pretty pass from Ruby Moore, and Sydney Terveen, the leading scorer for these Knights coming in. gets her third and fourth points. Washington has defended her well. Kent Colsard is not happy with that out-of-bounds call right in front of his bench. He is stalking the sidelines. The classic gentle giant. He is going after it, Kent Colsrud. His team is not used to being in this close of a game and being attacked this strenuously. And they are breaking the full court press time after time. Can they finish their drives, though? Berthe can't. Peterson, the rebound, and Grace Peterson, leading scorer, senior. With her 8th and 9th points, it's 37-33. Other side, Merman knocks it down. Sadie Merman with her second three-pointer of the game, her 13th of the season, back to 7. So important for Washington to withstand the press, and they can't. Berthe has it fumbled away, and then Moore just pulls right up and knocks it down. It's up to 9, and Jamie Parrish knows exactly what to do. We got to call a timeout and stop this avalanche because it happens in spades, and it happens quick. The great philosopher Ferris Bueller, life moves by pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it, and when you're trying to go against this O'Gorman full-court press, just one little mistake, one little hesitation, and not only is there one player in your face ready to rip the ball away, but there are usually teammates nearby to pick it up and take it where it needs to go, to the hoop. And so as good as Washington has done most of the game, it only takes a couple of full court trap failures to break you, to break your spirit. So Jamie Parrish and his squad now down by 9. O'Gorman has outscored Washington 7-2 to start the third quarter. And we're just 1 minute in, 7-2 in the first minute. Woods driving the baseline. Everything happened there but the finish, and that's been the story for the Washington offense on a lot of possessions. They're beating the press. They're getting good passes. They're getting good looks, not knocking it down, but they keep coming back with defense. And now Claire Woods falls to the floor. It's Ruby Moore and Julia Eggert. It's a push on Eggert. The O'Gorman fans don't like that. Eggert, second leading scorer on this team, and the strongest post with her second foul. And Ryland Kinnett able to get out of a jam. The cross-court pass to Woods. Now back up ahead to Kinnett. Again, close shot. There were arms up, but you still have to finish. Here comes Merman into a double team. Backs out of it. The cross-court. Terveen for 3. Not quite. So close. Berthe the rebound. Up ahead Peterson. Now Woods. Woods one-on-one with Moore. Woods. She can't finish, but it's cleaned up. Right there by Dana Harp. And the lead back down to 7 for O'Gorman. How much energy do these Knights sap? Here's Eggert. What a pass. Terveen, Eggert on the cut. High-level basketball. That's South Dakota State Jackrabbit type of spacing, passing, timing. It's a 9-point game. Woods tried the touchdown pass. Berthe wasn't ready. And guess what? Of course, there's a Knight there to get the steal. Several of those tonight. This is a team that averages 28 points, the margin of victory, in their 16-0 start. And Sydney Terveen earns herself a trip to the line. A push is whistled. Layla Berthe, her first. And now Terveen at the line. That makes the first of 2. So Sydney Terveen has just 5 points tonight. Averages 15.5 a game. She was our Central Bank player to watch. 86% free throw shooter. She is now 26 of 30 on the year. Cool right-handed flick right on through. And the lead now 11 for the Knights. Ties their biggest of the game. It was 4 at halftime, and within 3 minutes, they have dismantled Washington. Warriors break the press. Tierney Schramm bounces it underneath. Too strong of a pass for Peterson. It's just the little things. The shot's a little off. The pass is a little off. But this time, there's another shot that's a little off. but Dana Harp is fouled by Ruby Moore after getting her own rebound. You see the crispness out of O'Gorman. The passes are mostly on the money, whether off the bounce or in the air. For Washington here and there, just a little juice flowing through your veins, anticipating more pressure. And then you start to hear ghosts, see footsteps, or see ghosts and hear footsteps. And this time Washington fouls O'Gorman before the Knights get loose after the Grace Peterson missed. Second foul tonight for Washington's Josie Beitler, a freshman. And yes, it's required of all of us broadcasters that when it is a freshman, you have to mention they're a freshman every time they touch the ball or are whistled for a foul. Peterson able to get the steal away from Terveen, but of course the Knights stay right on the Warriors. Pass a little too hot for Woods. She recovers. Now she pulls up and knocks that down. Claire Woods gets Washington back into single digits. She has 4. We're almost halfway through the third. More competitive game than the Knights are used to. Their closest this year, the 10-point season opening win over Brandon Valley. Moore knocks it down, and the lead is 12. Ruby Moore on a roll tonight. She has 3 First Dakota threes. 17 points, 5 since the break. Lead is 12. Here's Woods, couple options. She goes to Schramm. There it is. 6 feet away, not a bad shot, but not there. The lay-in on the putback is there for Dana Harp, who now has 10 for Washington. Or check that, Woods on the cleanup. She has 6. 10-point lead. Look at the fast ball movement. Moore knocks it down again. Ruby Moore has 20 points, and we are halfway through the third quarter, and Jamie Parrish calls a timeout to perhaps get somebody to try and guard her. May have been an O'Gorman timeout, but either way, we'll take it with them. The Knights dominating the third quarter, now up a baker's dozen. It's number 1 versus number 2 on our Avera Game of the Week.
News now at 9 on Fox Sioux Falls. Your first and only local news in prime time. 1 hour to focus on the headlines of the day, plus breaking news as it happens. 1 hour to provide in-depth coverage of the biggest stories, alerting you first to what impacts you and your family's safety. 1 hour to give you a more detailed look at your first alert forecast, updating you every 5 minutes so you can prepare for tomorrow's forecast tonight. Dakota News Now at 9 on Fox Sioux Falls, your first alert station.
Starting the First Bank in South Dakota was the easy part, earning the confidence of local farmers, helping families account for their dreams, and securing the future for countless businesses took us a little longer. We owe it to the hard workers, big dreamers, and forward thinkers out there. Thank you for making South Dakota a great place to call home.
The O'Gorman Knights, number 1 in the state, 40 wins in a row, defending state champs, up by just 4 at halftime. Have quickly opened things back up, a 13-point lead midway through the third. The Warriors break the vaunted press. Claire Woods, a pull-up jumper free throw line, way off the mark. Grace Peterson came up with it and drew a foul. Every time O'Gorman has come at Washington with a bit of a mini run, and right now it's a 6-0 run. The Warriors have been able to answer and stay in striking distance, but they're going to need some barrages to come back and win this one. Peterson makes her first free throw. Julia Eggert checks in for O'Gorman. Grace Peterson, an Augustana commit. 2-time first-team All-Stater. That was her first free throw of the night. She is 75% on the year. And her second one falls as well. She's a 3-year starter for Washington. Big part of a state title team 2 years ago. Won at the Pentagon in 2023. O'Gorman came back and dominated this class last year. Ruby Moore has 20 points, picks up the loose ball. Here's an open jumper. Mooney, no. Right place, right time for Merman to track it down. Merman with a head fake. Didn't fake out Rylan Cadet. And now it's Moore. How about another? Another! Ruby Moore, unconscious. 23 points in this game. A 5th First Dakota 3, and the Warriors throw it away. trying to get it way down court ahead of that full court press. 55-41. O'Gorman with the lead. The Knights have outscored the Warriors 20-10 in this third quarter. And looking for more. Maybe Ruby Moore. She has 23. Merman working her way in. Harp comes up to hound her. Now Ager takes a look, decides to defer, and Moore with a rare mistake. Peterson on the interception. O'Gorman got back and still, Tyler Mooney got in front of the pass, but they say there was a push there, and O'Gorman now with 5 fouls in this third quarter. That means the Warriors get to shoot 2 every time. There's another O'Gorman foul. This time it's Dana Harp drilling the first. 11 for Harp tonight. She'll be following in the footsteps of her 2 older twin sisters, Brooklyn and Hannah, who were parts of 2 state championship teams for Washington, 21 and 23. And they're now at USF, where Dana will be in a year. Lead back down to 12. Harp almost got the interception. And it goes off of Eggert, so Washington does force a turnover. I mean, the Warriors are playing O'Gorman tougher than 95% of teams play. And they're down by 12. Late third. Washington coming off its second loss of the season. That was Tuesday night, Brandon Valley. 69-62. Washington's 2 losses, they gave up by far the most points they've given up all season. 70 to O'Gorman, 69 to Brandon Valley. Other than that, they're giving up just 34 points a game. And a 3-ball knocked down in the corner by Sydney Terveen. It was only a matter of time before she got her first Dakota 3. It's a 15-point lead. Only one chance for the Warriors, a rebound. The Knights move it again. A near steal. Merman picks it up, misses the pull-up. Berthet the rebound, and Terveen going after it a little too strong. No, it's a jump ball. And the possession goes to Washington. 15-point Knight lead. .23 third quarter points. You never know when the avalanche is going to come. And Woods stolen away by Terveen. 1-on-1. Boy, Woods gets her hand on the ball, forces Terveen into a little flat-footed position, but whistled for the foul. That's 2 on Claire Woods, the Washington starting point guard. And so the Knights with the ball underneath their own hoop. And tell you, the Warriors are not going to go away. They're going to try to make life as difficult and miserable for O'Gorman. Every pass, every shot, every loose ball. The Knights just happen to be the 800-pound gorilla right now. They just have so many players and so much experience. The dribbling, the passing, the shooting, it's just all elite. And you can make the Knights make a mistake or two here or there. It happens. It's happened several times tonight. But the number of times O'Gorman makes up for it is too much for most teams to handle. And Terveen draws a foul, and we'll get to go to the line for a pair of free throws. Hack on the arm is the call. It is on the Warriors' Grace Peterson, her second. And now Terveen, where she hardly ever misses. I almost try to stay quiet because I'm up in the balcony right behind the basket, just to her right. Sydney Terveen, 3 of 3 tonight. Make that 4 of 4, 28 of 32 on the season. And then Ruby Moore gets the steal on the inbounds. And then Bertay gets the steal for Washington. And then she just fires a pass way too hard for Dana Harp. It'll be a O'Gorman ball again. That was a snapshot of this game for Washington. The Warriors, when they are able to get the better of O'Gorman on a pass, on a play, on a trip down the floor against the full court press. Like, oh, okay, we got it. We got ahead. Oh, we could get a layup here. And then they just rifle the pass too hard. It is what happens. Double dribble is what happened on this possession. Ellie Meyer off the bench. And so the ball goes back to Washington. So we had ourselves a heavyweight fight at halftime. It was 35-31. O'Gorman has outscored Washington 29-12. Peterson wide open for three. Yes, indeed. Grace Peterson with her second First Dakota three of the game. She has 16. That's a mighty impressive night, late third quarter. And it would look stellar if it weren't for Ruby Moore and her 23 for O'Gorman. Terveen fights her way into a foul. Decides to take it downhill. And it's a hold on Washington's Layla Bertay. You have to think if you're Jamie Parrish, the Washington head coach. O'Gorman has the experience edge tonight. They have several contributors. Last year's 24-0 squad. Washington went 9-12 with a new cast. And some of these players like Woods and Peterson, Dana Harp, they've been through the battles. But you see the young ones like Bertay. It's been a school of hard knocks night. You can see the potential. And this will be a learning experience. That's only going to make her and some of the other younger Warriors better. Peterson, one of the older ones, can't get the friendly bounce, and that's the end of the third quarter. The Knights just burst out of the locker room and shove away the Warriors' chances of an upset tonight in the Knight Gymnasium. 3 quarters in, it's 62-46. O'Gorman gunning after win number 41, and they're 8 minutes away from doing it, and we're a minute away from the fourth quarter on our Avera Game of the Week.
Finding a place to belong is everything. It's where you can make a difference, where you're heard, where you have a team that supports you, and the benefits you deserve. At Avera, you can find that place. You belong at Avera. Apply today. Avera.org/careers.
Experience it all. Follow your academic and career goals and your love for the arts, music, and competition that thrills you. Learn from award-winning faculty and in classes where you are more than a number. Build lifelong friendships at game day experiences and in student organizations for all interests. At Augustana, you don't have to choose. Live and learn in the heart of South Dakota's largest city, where job opportunities, networks of professionals, and a hometown feel await you. Find your bold at Augustana University.
Augustana University, where Grace Peterson, Washington Warrior All-Stater, will find her bold starting next year. Nathan Vogel's program. Peterson was 16 tonight, but O'Gorman with a 62-46 lead, the number one team in the state. On their way to 41 in a row. Here's Moore. Ruby Moore, have a night. That is Ruby's fifth First Dakota three. It's 65-46. Then she comes away with the ball at the half-court line. And then she gets fouled and she gets a chance to go to the line for more. So a career high for Ruby Moore already. And check that. That was the first foul of the fourth quarter. South Dakota high school ball. It's the second year where you wipe the slate clean with fouls after every quarter, and then you go to the line once the other team has committed 5 fouls in the quarter. It's 2 shots every time. No one-on-one, one-and-one shots in South Dakota high school hoops, boys or girls. Sometimes it's an old habit that's hard to break. So a full timeout taken. I don't know why. It's 65-46. O'Gorman now with a comfortable lead. It was anything but at the break, 35-31. Washington was doing an excellent job of breaking the full court trap, getting ahead of the night defense. Warriors went on a 6-0 run to end the first half, make it a 4-point game. But it's a gauntlet. And you knew the Knights would keep on coming. The Washington players break the huddle, and they come out of it with some smiles. They're communicating. They're still competing. And you'll love to see that. They know this is just a part of the season. Who knows? There might be another shot at the Knights in the semifinals of the state championship game. There likely will be. Because right now it is O'Gorman 1, Brandon Valley likely to be 2 come Monday, and Washington 3. And although Mitchell is at 13-3, the schedule's a little stronger for these Sioux Falls Metro squads, as Hermanson whistled for double dribble in the backcourt. Washington gets the ball. It feels like a 3-horse race. And Washington lost by 17 to these Knights on January 14th. And right now their deficit is even bigger than that. But, they're taking this thing possession by possession. Peterson knocks down another 3. It's a 16-point game. Grace Peterson with her third First Dakota tray of the night. She has 19 points to lead all Warriors. It's a 16-point game. Behind the back dribble, Merman dishing it at the last second to Hermanson and drawing the foul. We've mentioned the words spacing and pacing and timing. And O'Gorman has it locked in as a system, but also these players just have the right instincts. And on that particular play, just knowing the exact right time to dish the ball down low to a teammate a little closer to the basket, a little more open than you. And in this case, drawing a foul and 2 free throws. And Kayla Hermanson, 75% on the year, so it's a good bet, although she misses her second. And Woods tracks it down. Inside 7 to go. It's a 66-49 Washington lead. The boys' game to follow here on Metro Sports TV and DakotaNewsNow.com. Got some big games in other parts of the city. We'll get you updated on those real soon. Peterson into a triple team, and a hand gets on the ball. Then Hermanson launches it down court. Terveen, the dish to Eggert, just beautiful. Just beautiful. I mean, not sure if there's another team in the state that can handle a full court break like that. Just pinpoint passes down to the last inch, the last second, the last millisecond on a break. And the Knights with a foul on the other side. It's the third on Kyra Hermanson. And Dana Harp knocks down her first attempt. Harp quietly racking up 13 points tonight. The University of Sioux Falls commit 74% on the season. 5'11" junior. And one of her teammates is going to go to the line after getting the offensive board. The smallest player on the court. She just checked in. Kamaya Sweer. Sophomore. Doesn't take much time. And that went a little off the mark. I can't imagine coming into a game, two best teams in the state, several of the best players in the state on the court, waging battle for 26 minutes, and then you're a sophomore and you come in and right away, hey, you earn yourself a trip to the line, but the nerves had to be there. 68-50 O'Gorman the lead, and now Ruby Moore, 26 points to her name. Long pass. 3 is there. There it goes! Tyla Mooney, again, crisp perfect passes, open player. Other side, Peterson finishing it off. She has 21. 71-52. That was Mooney with the 3 for O'Gorman on the other trip before this. Knights save it on the baseline, get another shot. Mooney looking, running right into a Warrior. Moore getting a steal. Ahead to Terveen and lays it in. Ruby Moore realized, I'm not going to come up with it. There's my teammate Agert. She's pretty good around the bucket. I'll let her score. Agert was 16, and it's a 19-point O'Gorman lead. So Agert was 16, Moore with 26, 13. Now for Sydney Terveen. Those are your typical top guns for O'Gorman, and no exception tonight. Two of them above their average already with over 5 minutes remaining in the contest. A 73-52 lead. This is already the most points Washington has given up this season. Everybody else they play, the average is 37 when they're not playing O'Gorman. And a turnover underneath as Kinnett can't quite handle the bounce pass. The previous high that Washington had given up was O'Gorman's 70 in the first meeting between these two squads exactly a month ago, January 14th. Two-3 Washington zone. Mooney the head fake. Working on Harp. Now working on Schramm. Now handing it off. Pull up, mid-range. Terveen. It's a clinic. Terveen with 15. And it's now a 23-point Washington lead. If you're just tuning in, this was a 4-point game at half, 35-31. Dana Harp earns herself a trip to the line. Washington is battling, and what I like as an amateur basketball mind about what Jamie Parrish's squad is doing, I mean, they could come into this game and try to limit O'Gorman's possessions, milk the clock. A lot of teams try to do that. It's almost impossible with the way O'Gorman comes at you with the full court press. And a 2-3 zone, if you start to get lackadaisical and just pass it around and milk the clock, you're probably not going to find an open shot. And so the Warriors have just continued to attack. When they do beat the full court press, it might be a bit of a fire drill, but they are getting shots off within the first 5 or 10 seconds. They're being aggressive, and they are staying that way despite the fact they get further and further behind. I mean, at this point, you kind of need to do it out of necessity, but still love the way they're attacking. And so the Knights get it back. Moore with 26, cross court. Mooney wants another 3, and she got one. They are raining in like crazy for O'Gorman, the first Dakota three-pointers. The Knights had 3 at halftime. They have 7 in the second half. Moore, the pull-up, and she is 2 points away from 30. Ruby Moore heating it up and making it less of a mystery who our player of the game is going to be. Just under 4 minutes of game time from now. It is 80-54. The Knights have scored 45 points in a quarter and a half against the state's number 2 ranked team. Terveen just blazing down the court, kicking it into another gear, getting the easy lay-in, and making it a 28-point lead. Terveen has 17. You have to wonder what kind of physical and mental fatigue is set in for Washington in this second half. I mean, they finished the first half on a 6-0 run. That got them all jacked up in the locker room. Down 35-31. Chance to end O'Gorman's 40-game win streak. No team has come within single digits of O'Gorman this year. The closest was Brandon Valley by 10 in week 1. And a nice applause as deserved for Terveen and Moore and Sadie Merman. And Ruby Moore finishes with 28 points, a career high, and she does it against one of the best defenses in the state. But Washington had number 3 Brandon Valley a 69-62 up and down the floor marathon on Tuesday. And when you get that combined with O'Gorman, that will sap your energy, even if you are just 15 to 18 years old. 26-point O'Gorman lead, 2.5 left. Now it's just a matter of who wants to put a few more stats next to your line. Nice pass. Beautiful pass down low. The pass came in from Josie Beitler. The finish underneath by the backup post, Jersey Peterson, with her first 2 points of the night. Mooney, beautiful step back. Can't quite knock it down. That would have been her third First Dakota three of the second half. Inside 2 minutes remaining, and Jamie Parrish calls a timeout simply to put in some more substitutions. Players who I would say don't normally get in, but Washington is a team that, like O'Gorman, has beaten a bunch of teams by a bunch this year, so some of these players have gotten some PT. Now they're doing it in front of a nearly full house, big-time matchup. Fans sticking around for the boys' game. We're sticking around for the boys' game. Pair of evenly matched teams, 11-5 records coming up 15 minutes after the completion of this game. We thought this may go down to the wire. There's a three ball for London Backus off the bench. It's the Knights' 11th First Dakota three of this game. And it's a 27-point lead. O'Gorman with 50 second-half points to Washington's 27. And 27's not bad. Another beautiful pass. The Warriors get the offensive board. They can't come up with the putback. And the Knights are just going to keep running with it no matter who's on the floor. Hermanson finishes off the fast break. And she is one of O'Gorman's starters. She now has 3 points. Her first field goal. Inside 40 seconds of a runaway O'Gorman second half. Leaving absolutely zero doubt. Who is still queen of the hill? There's a three-pointer that gets the gym jumping. Hergema. 87-60. Queens of the Hill in this rivalry. The old Sioux Falls High School versus Cathedral High School. The tradition continues. Queens of the Castle in the city. And Queens of the Castle in the state. The O'Gorman Knights have now won 41 games in a row. They outscore the number 2 team in the state 52-29 in the second half and run away with the 87-60 victory. It's a season high for O'Gorman's prolific offense. Wow. Tough act to follow, but the boys are next. We'll have our player of the game, some highlights from this girls' game, and get you set for the second leg, all coming your way on our Avera Game of the Week, DakotaNewsNow.com, and Metrosports.tv.
Time is valuable.
You shouldn't have to wait for the weather forecast.
That's why the First Alert Weather Team is giving you weather every 5 minutes in every newscast.
Every 5 minutes in the morning, every 5 minutes in the evening,
and every 5 minutes on the weekends, too.
Focusing on the weather that affects you.
You'll always get the First Alert so you can plan ahead.
First Alert weather every 5 minutes. Only on Dakota News Now.
Jackrabbits don't wait to see what the future holds. They build it. At South Dakota State University, the next generation's leaders are preparing to launch. They're focusing on growth, and they're reaching new heights of excellence across vital industries. SDSU is building something greater for South Dakota. and the world. Join us.
Finding a place to belong is everything. It's where you can make a difference, where you're heard, where you have a team that supports you, and the benefits you deserve. At Avera, you can find that place. You belong at Avera. Apply today. Avera.org/careers.
Banking isn't just about financial products. It's about service and what we can do for you. Those personal touches are at the core of who we are at Central Bank. Decisions are made locally by people who get to know you. And while a lot has changed since 1877, we're still committed to our customers and to being the best bank in every community we serve. Central Bank, member FDIC.
Josh and Emily are visiting Emily's parents this weekend, where Josh will propose. He's nervous, but not about the ring. Well done, Josh. Well done. Chase is proposing to Ashley at the resort where they first met. Ashley was vacationing with friends, but Chase ended up being her best friend of all, plus some. Every diamond tells a story, but there's no story like yours. And there's no diamond like a Greenberg's diamond. Greenberg's Jewelers, a cut above the rest.
Starting the first bank in South Dakota was the easy part, earning the confidence of local farmers, helping families account for their dreams, and securing the future for countless businesses took us a little longer. We owe it to the hard workers, big dreamers, and forward thinkers out there. Thank you for making South Dakota a great place to call home.
It was an O'Gorman romp in the second half. In our Avera game of the week, the first leg of this doubleheader at the Knight Gymnasium, O'Gorman High School. 35-31 at the break. The Knights outscore the Warriors 52-29 in the second half for their 41st consecutive win in girls AA ball in South Dakota. O'Gorman now 17-0 on the season. Washington with its second straight loss, in each case to a top 3 ranked team, falls to 12-3. And it's time to take a look at some highlights on our post-game show. Sponsored by our friends at Vance Thompson Vision. And man, you talk about court vision. All of the Knights just seemed to know where to place the ball, and it was always good when it was in Ruby Moore's hands. That's the first of a few First Dakota three-point makes for Ruby Moore. Washington early on handled the press well from O'Gorman. These are second half highlights. Grace Peterson knocking down one of her 3 First Dakota three-point makes. She had 21 points on the night to lead all Warriors. And you just kept watching the Knights keep on coming over and over again downhill. Both of these teams full court press, 2-3 zone. O'Gorman with a little more experience, a little more deft at it, and you just can't leave Ruby Moore wide open for 3-pointers. She was unstoppable tonight. Moore had 12 at the break and had 16 points in the second half. Grace Peterson did her darndest to keep pace. That's one of her 3 First Dakota makes, 21 points for Washington. She's an Augustana Viking to be. And meanwhile, again, just the perfect passing down the court, the long passes, the short passes, just in stride, just at the right time. Agert finished off that bucket that you just saw. Julia Agert with 16 points tonight. You saw Tyla Mooney knock down a First Dakota 3, one of her 2 in the second half. And I'd love to get a Julia Agert highlight in here at some point. I know I can't just dial that up. That was a Sydney Terveen highlight. O'Gorman's leading scorer at 15.5 points per game, finished with 17 on my count. And, I could just watch this all night. Ruby Moore was a delight in the double pigtails tonight. She is your American State Bank player of the game with her 28 points And so now the Lady Knights move on to go to Harrisburg, a 7-7 squad. That will be on Tuesday night, while Washington, the hits keep on coming. They get number 4 Mitchell on Tuesday. At least that will be at home for the Warriors, who in a 3-game stretch playing the other 3 of the top 4 teams in AA ball. They've lost their first 2 by 7 at Brandon Valley on Tuesday, and by a lot more here tonight. And it's never something to take to take that hard. It's O'Gorman Knights basketball, and it's an avalanche. 87-60 for the Lady Knights. The boys game, it's less than 10 minutes away. So we'll have our pregame show after a few minutes, and we'll come back for a pair of 5 lost squads tussling for some playoff positioning in our Avera Games of the Week.
Banking isn't just about financial products. It's about service and what we can do for you. Those personal touches are at the core of who we are at Central Bank. Decisions are made locally by people who get to know you. And while a lot has changed since 1877, we're still committed to our customers and to being the best bank in every community we serve. Central Bank, member FDIC.
Jackrabbits don't wait to see what the future holds. They build it. At South Dakota State University, the next generation's leaders are preparing to launch. They're focusing on growth, and they're reaching new heights of excellence across vital industries. SDSU is building something greater for South Dakota and the world. Join us.
Josh and Emily are visiting Emily's parents this weekend, where Josh will propose. He's nervous, but not about the ring. Well done, Josh. Well done. Chase is proposing to Ashley at the resort where they first met. Ashley was vacationing with friends, but Chase ended up being her best friend of all. Plus some. Every diamond tells a story, but there's no story like yours. And there's no diamond like a Greenberg's diamond. Greenberg's Jewelers, a cut above the rest.
In nursing, where you work matters. At Avera, we build Team Green around you, with a culture that values and supports you. Leaders who listen and care about your success. And benefits to reward the great work you do. The grass is greener at Avera. So join Team Green. Learn more at avera.org/careers.
Experience it all. Follow your academic and career goals and your love for the arts, music, and competition that thrills you. Learn from award-winning faculty and in classes where you are more than a number. Build lifelong friendships at game day experiences and in student organizations for all interests. At Augustana, you don't have to choose. Live and learn in the heart of South Dakota's largest city, where job opportunities, networks of professionals, and a hometown feel await you. Find your bold at Augustana University.
It's a big one tonight in the middle of Sioux Falls, our Avera Game of the Week between the number 5 ranked Washington Warriors and the O'Gorman Knights, who are knocking on the door of a top 5 bid. A late season tussle in a long and storied rivalry. Good evening, John Gaskins, back for more. The second leg of this doubleheader after the O'Gorman girls took down Washington 87-60. And we have a pair of squads very evenly matched. The Knights at 11-5, the Warriors at 9-5. And these two teams did meet earlier this season. It was back on January 14th, about a month ago. And that went right down to the wire with O'Gorman winning 68-67. You see the teams warming up. You see the Knight Gymnasium filling up here on 41st and Kiwanis. And before we get into the teeth of these matchups, let's take a look at some other AA basketball games this week, brought to you by Augustana. Kind of a big one in Brandon tonight, a pair of 14-1 squads, Lincoln and the Lynx. Of course, the Patriots looked unstoppable. We were wondering if they would run the table, and then they ran into the buzzsaw from Mitchell a couple of weeks ago. Brandon Valley is one of the few teams that has taken down Mitchell this year. And so the Lynx have a big opportunity tonight to get ahead in the battle for the number 1 seed. Meanwhile, number 4 Harrisburg is at Rapid City Central. The Tigers quietly at 13-2. While T-Area, first year of AA ball, a 500 squad hosting 13-2 Sioux City East tonight. While Watertown and Roosevelt grapple on the west side of Sioux Falls. Our slate brought to you by Augustana University, where you can find your bold. Hands-on learning, a vibrant community, and diverse opportunities prepare you to lead and succeed. And now a look at our top 5 poll, brought to you by Touch Market All Saints. Brandon Valley, because of Lincoln's loss to Mitchell a couple of weeks ago, now Kings of the Hill, only separated by 6 points. Mitchell, the defending state champs, they've beaten Lincoln. They can beat anybody. Harrisburg can probably make the same claim. The Tigers are number 4. And Washington, probably consider them a distant 5th right now. And they kind of start the second wave, the second layer of teams in boys AA ball. And O'Gorman is right there knocking on their door. This is a pivotal late season matchup. Let's take a look at those team profiles brought to us by South Dakota State University. For Washington, 4th-year coach Jeff Tobin, always competitive. Whether it's Jeff Tobin, Craig Nelson, before them Jim Trett, Washington's always going to have a good squad. They are 9-5 this year. And Tuesday night, they took number 1 Brandon Valley to the wire, losing by just 3. And a lot of Washington's games are close. They average 60. They give up an average of 58. And their highest quality win against a Huron squad that's been knocking on the top 5 all season long, 47-42. Meanwhile, the team profile for the O'Gorman Knights, it's a very similar profile. They're 11-5. They've won 9 of their last 12. Undressed by the Lincoln Patriots, but then again, who hasn't been most of the year besides Mitchell? A 55-44 loss on Tuesday to Lincoln that followed. That wasn't the undressing. The undressing was 69-32 at Lincoln 3 weeks ago. So the Knights closed the gap, played a lot better defense on Tuesday, giving them a little momentum into the night. And look at that. Almost identical scoring and defensive scoring numbers to Washington, scoring 60 and giving up 57 for Derek Roby, who is in his 20th year at the helm. Our players to watch tonight are brought to you by Central Bank. Tommy Hoffman, a quarterback to be at Southwest Minnesota State, 3rd-year starter, 6'2", averaging 15 points, 4 assists per game. For the most part, he takes terrific care of the basketball, which is kind of his duty. And here's a good look at Tommy Hoffman. He is lightning in a bottle, a streaky player. If he gets into a good streak, look out. You just never really know. And for the Knights, our player to watch tonight, Austin Terveen, leading a balanced scoring attack. The senior, whose twin brother is in the starting lineup with him, averaging 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals per game. He also shoots 77% from the free throw line, and there's a look at Austin Terveen. The Knights, as you have seen, they're in their white jerseys with green letters and numerals. We'll explain that in a moment. Let's look at our Vern Eide keys to victory tonight and what is expected to be a very close battle. The Knights, they've been doing it lately, heat up from beyond the three-point arc. They have several guys who can knock it down from deep. Washington wants to force some turnovers and get into some transition for Jeff Tobin. And again, the Warriors coming off a narrow loss to Brandon Valley. But to just illustrate Washington, they can play with anybody, but anybody can play with them. Last Friday night, they went up to Watertown. Like a lot of Eastern South Dakota Conference venues, a tough place to play, a bit bigger of a facility than the high schools in the bigger city. And trouble shooting and scoring all night, pulling away 49-43. A look at the Knights. Their starting lineup is being introduced. And O'Gorman, a team, a rare case last year where Derek Roby, the man in green on the left part of your screen, did not guide his team to a state tournament, a rare losing record. This is a proud program with 6 state titles under Roby. The last came in 2017. This year you'd consider them a dark horse, but they continue to grow and improve. Again, after some early stumbles, they've won 9 of their last 12 games. Both of the Terveen twin brothers just introduced. And you see Roby wearing the green, and you see the green numerals and yellow trim. Most of you watching are probably quite familiar with this tradition, but it's a very cool one to explain. Sioux Falls Washington High School was formerly Sioux Falls High School. The first facility was downtown. It's now the Washington Pavilion. And they've moved venue and become Washington High School, while O'Gorman, formerly Cathedral High School, the Catholic school of Sioux Falls, that's downtown. It was on the hill next to the Cathedral Church. And now here they are in the middle of town as O'Gorman High School the last 65 years. 2 oldest high schools and teams in the state. Oldest rivalry, and Jace Woods, an uber athletic forward who's going to get a lot of big-time football offers continuing to pile up on his side. Tipping it off with Jackson Bjorkman from O'Gorman. Watch Woods jump. Just watch. Bjorkman can jump too. But the ball goes into the hands of Tommy Hoffman, and we are underway. Hoffman underneath. Pops it back outside. Lucas Johnson, the second leading scorer. Now Sam Baskin. Woods, the pull-up. Bjorkman in his face, and Jace Woods gets the lid lifted for Washington. Honorable mention all-conference basketball player as a sophomore, so he's excels in both sports. And the Knights with their first possession. Caleb Terveen driving in, can't finish. Hoffman the rebound, full house. Washington students in pink. And Hoffman drains the First Dakota 3 to make it 5-0. All-state and all-conference as a junior last year. So Washington on the road, getting up early, and their fans get into it right away. Niyun Doot for 3. Cuts the lead to 2. Niyun Doot with a rare three-pointer. Makes it a 5-3 Washington lead. O'Gorman in the man-to-man defense. Hoffman from way downtown. No. Brendan Verhey gets the rebound. Finds himself tied up underneath by Austin Terveen. Finds Lucas Johnson in the backcourt. Boy, if the rest of the game goes like the first 2.5 minutes, we are in for a treat tonight. Sam Baskin directing some traffic. Calls a play. Now Hoffman. Verhey. Back to Baskin. Hoffman covered a lot of ground. Muscled up. Can't drain it over Mason Clark. Bjorkman fights off Woods for the rebound. And Baskin. Caleb Terveen for 3. Not quite, and Hoffman gets the rebound for Washington. Up ahead, he has Thompson. It's a touchdown. Touchdown, Tommy Hoffman. Beautiful dime. Hoffman averages 5 assists per game. Quarterback of the football team the last 3 years. It's 7-3. Washington has scored on 3 of its first 4 possessions. Doot blocked by Woods. Baskin has a prize. Up to Verhey. Now Woods. Oh, he was clotheslined by Doot, a late whistle. But that was clearly a foul on Niyun Doot, trying to prevent the utter damage Jace Woods can do near the rim. First foul called of the game. And so the Warriors get it on their baseline. Tommy Hoffman checks out early for fourth-year coach Jeff Tobin. Classified by O'Gorman coach Derek Roby as one of the workout guy coaches. Here's Thompson for 3, and he drains it. Lucas Thompson with Washington's second First Dakota 3 of the game. An early 10-3 touchdown lead for the Warriors. Washington in those black jerseys playing man-to-man. Austin Terveen yet to take a shot. Now he has, and he gets his first make. That's the guy you want. Averages 14 a game. And it's a 10-5 Washington lead. Warriors, not a prolific scoring team. 60 points a game. And another 3 for Johnson. Warriors come in hot and staying hot. 3 First Dakota threes in the first 3 minutes of the game. And an 8-point lead. Tervina pull up, can't knock it down. That was Austin. Johnson the rebound. And bringing it up for Washington is Sam Ewing. Now Baskin. Fending off. Oh, he tried to drop in a pass in a little too much traffic. And Ewing could not handle it point blank. And it's Washington's first turnover of the game. John Lent checks in for O'Gorman. He's their big man off the bench, and he's a big, big man. 6'5", averages 6 points a game. Provides a little beef in the post. And the Knights down by 8 early at home, looking to get their offense cranking. Tommy Hoffman back in the game for Washington. And Khalil Cece, I did it again. Camden Cece throws an interception. Here comes Hoffman on the break. Well, he just waits for Lent to fly by him and lays it in. Tommy Hoffman with 7 early points. We told you, streaky player. And it's a good streak. It is lightning in a bottle. 10-point Washington lead halfway through the first. Dute just barrels right into Hoffman, who is going in for the steal. And he'll be called for reaching in. Check that it is on Ewing, who is also trying to defend. Dute. 15-5, Washington with the early lead. This team tooth and nail with top-ranked Brandon Valley on Tuesday night, losing by just a few. Austin Tervine right past his defender. Can't finish with the left hand. Hoffman with the glass. He averages 5 boards a game. And the future SMSU Mustang quarterback takes it down. Now Woods. Oh, he traveled. And Woods goes out both arms like, what? Whistle was blowing right as he was closing on in on the rim. So the Warriors with a hot start, haven't scored the last couple possessions, and now Camden Cece takes it down. He's the brother of Khalil Cece, who was an outstanding guard for Lincoln High School a few years ago. Finds his way to O'Gorman. Speaking of lightning in a bottle, John Lent is a guy you do not want to have all alone. You don't want anybody all alone, really, when you're a defense, but he's going to be hard to defend when nobody's around him and trying to get near him. And meanwhile, the Warriors turn it over. 8-point lead. Beautiful backdoor cut, and the reverse is there. Lent waited for the pass, and he flings it underneath to Austin Tervine with an easy bucket. And back-to-back hoops for O'Gorman draws the lead back to 6. Derek Roby barking out the defensive signals. Another baseline cut, and Tervine anticipated it. Cece at midcourt, out to Dute. Dute slashing on 2 Warriors, and the bodies collide to the deck. We'll have a foul on one of Washington's defenders. It's a hack on the arm on Jace Woods, his first. So the Warriors came out shooting hot. O'Gorman has gotten 3 stops in a row, but on this possession, Dute can't take advantage of his first free throw attempt. Lucas Thompson, Washington's second leading scorer, goes to the bench along with Sam Ewing, the reserve guard. Dute misses another. A free throw. Lent picks it up. Uncontested, can't make it from 5. And finally the hot potato falls into Jace Woods' hands. So still a 6-point Washington lead. Hoffman reverses course. Cooley puts up a 3. Doesn't fall. Lent the board. Here's Austin Tervine for O'Gorman. Looks back at Derek Roby for a play call. And pulls up, left of the key, in and out. And things will stay with O'Gorman as Hoffman couldn't corral it. He takes another rest for Jeff Tobin. And Tobin tells Tommy Hoffman, no, when you come sit down, go give some 5s, some low 5s to all of your teammates. Hoffman a little frustrated. Lent takes the inbounds pass, one spin. Can't get the baby left-handed hook to go. Baskin the rebound for Washington. How will the Warriors do without Hoffman? Presumably for the last couple minutes of the quarter. Woods had nowhere to go. And now an errant pass in the backcourt away from Brendan Verhey. Check that. That wasn't Sam Glassrud. That was Easton Miller, 5'7" senior for Washington. A little jittery. And so the Warriors, who came out on fire, been cooled off. Now Cece missing the pull-up in the lane. Baskin coming up with it. Cece staying on him like glue all the way down across the timeline. This game has come to a stalemate after the teams are going back and forth, knocking down some shots, making some drives, some beelines to the hoop. Defense has been a little stingier the last few minutes. Woods, look out. Ball of athleticism. And Lent comes in to help. It's too late. Woods wanted a foul. A lot of contact in between him and Bjorkman and Lent. Washington gets off a 3-minute schneid, still up by 8. Meanwhile, Caleb Terveen gets past Sam Baskin with the runner. His first 2. And it's a 6-point Washington lead. About a 3-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. Baskin trying to find the right move on Caleb Terveen. Now he'll take his time, wait for some movement away from him. And Miller comes to him. Down to 10 on the shot clock. Miller at 5'7", severely undersized. Verhey. And now Sprechter. Left elbow. Somebody's got to shoot. It's Miller. Can't drain it. And loose ball. And the end of the quarter. It was fun. It was fast and furious for a while. Things have slowed down. But we have ourselves an entertaining Friday night in the heart of Sioux Falls. O'Gorman 17, Washington 11 in the Crosstown Showdown. Second quarter, 1 minute away on our Avera Game of the Week.
First Bank in South Dakota was the easy part, earning the confidence of local farmers, helping families account for their dreams, and securing the future for countless businesses took us a little longer. We owe it to the hard workers, big dreamers, and forward thinkers out there. Thank you for making South Dakota a great place to call home.
Jackrabbits don't wait to see what the future holds. They build it. At South Dakota State University, the next generation's leaders are preparing to launch. They're focusing on growth, and they're reaching new heights of excellence across vital industries. SDSU is building something greater for South Dakota and the world. Join us.
Washington 17, O'Gorman 11. A physical first quarter amongst the two oldest rivals in Sioux Falls high school basketball, the Warriors and the Knights. Washington 9-5 coming into this game off a loss to number 1 Brandon Valley by just 4 points on Tuesday. 3 points. While O'Gorman off a loss to number 2 Lincoln by 11. So they were worked hard on Tuesday. Not much rest. Who's going to win the battle of attrition? And a 3-ball to start the second quarter from Austin Terveen. O'Gorman's leading scorer at 14 a game. He's already halfway to that total. It is the Knights' second, check that third, First Dakota 3 of the game. Woods, looking what I got here. So open, he can't make it. It was a bit of a tough angle. And the Knights get the rebound. 3-point game. And now Mason Clark barreling down the lane. His first shot of the game is a left-hander off the left glass. And Mason Clark cuts the lead to 1. Woods on the other side finishing things off. Such a big, strong, athletic body. Tough to defend. He has 6. And the junior, again, is going to get a lot of looks from a lot of high-level football powers with the complete package that he has. Strength, athleticism, speed. He'll be a receiver Austin Terveen missed the three. His brother Caleb got the board. Woods came up with a ball, and then a foul whistled on O'Gorman on that battle. Or was it? Nope, it's on... Yeah. It is on O'Gorman. Mason Clark. His first. The fouls go back to 0 to start each quarter. So that's the first for the Knights. And I'm not quite sure what the confusion is. But it's taking a while for us to get back to where we were. Okay. It was a foul on Washington. And now we have another whistle and now an offensive foul on the Knights. I think. I heard the whistle. It appeared to be a foul. Out on the wing. No indication of the scorer's table. Washington gets the ball back. Hoffman back in the game after sitting out the final 2 minutes of the first quarter. 7 points in those opening 8 minutes. Little kick ball with Baskin trying to bounce a pass into the post. Oh, Hoffman to Woods, perfect. Woods, he makes leaping up into the stratosphere look easy. And on the other side, Clark answers. Mason Clark getting some things ignited on a pair of drives to start the second quarter. 3-point game. Woods had it picked from behind. Here comes Caleb Terveen on the drive, and Hoffman gets the block. Bodies splat. Hoffman got a lot of ball there. But they'll blow the whistle for the foul, and it'll be Tommy Hoffman's first. Full gymnasium, and everybody was hyped up to see what was going to happen at the rim here. I'm not quite sure where I see any part of the body being touched in that shot on our Vance Thompson Vision replay. And meanwhile, the first free throw goes down for Caleb Terveen. Caleb, a 75% free throw shooter on the year. Chance to cut this to 1, and he does. It was an early 10-3 lead for Washington. They had it at 15-9, and now we're down to a point. O'Gorman rarely pivots from its man-to-man defense. Under Derek Roby's guidance, 20 years now, 6 state titles. Warriors deliberate on this possession. Woods trying the reverse, and Bjorkman got him somewhere. And so Jace Woods will go to the line. According to Jeff Tobin, the Washington head coach, Jace Woods has found more confidence in his perimeter jump shot. Always dangerous in transition. Likes to get out and play passing lanes. His first free throw, though, is off the mark, and he remains at 8 points. Woods, a 63% free throw shooter. Gets there semi-frequently. This is his 40th attempt of the season in Washington's 15th game, and it goes down. 22-20. Evenly matched battle. We've gotten pretty much what we've expected on the scoreboard. Both teams average 60 a game. They give up each about 57. Bjorkman missed the 3, and it goes out of bounds to Washington, so the Warriors get a stop. 3-point loss on Tuesday at Brandon Valley. The number 1 team in the state. Jeff Tobin says he thought they did some nice things, especially on defense. Battled inside against a couple of physical post players. Brandon Valley's guards stepped up. Woods finishing underneath. A nice pass from Hoffman. And Jace Woods starting to get a little loose. He now has 10. And the Knights doing everything they can to prevent easy points, and he is still getting some buckets through all the contact. Chance at a 3-point play. And he's now 0 of 3 at the line. Bjorkman and Lent battle for the board amongst each other for O'Gorman. And Woods now 1 of 3 at the line. He has 11 points. 4-point Washington lead. Cece yet to get unlocked in this game, and out of bounds off Jace Woods, creating so much havoc. Right now, Woods is your player to watch. I mean, Tommy Hoffman was our Central Bank player to watch pregame, but Woods is just all over the court. The biggest factor for Washington in this quarter-and-a-half game, and this time the Knights can't find what they are looking for. Maybe it was a cut. Maybe it was a different positioning, but it bounces out of bounds. Another stop. And the Warriors with a chance to take this lead a little higher. 68-67 O'Gorman win in the first matchup a month ago on January 14th, and a traveling call is whistled on Ben Sprecher, sophomore off the bench, who saw plenty of time as a freshman. Clark and Bjorkman to O'Gorman's bench. Neon Doot, one of the cooler names you'll get in anywhere, including high school basketball, checks back in to inbound it for Derek Roby. Knight squad that has won 9 of its last 12. Lost by 37 at Lincoln 3 weeks ago, and then played the Patriots again on Tuesday night, and this time the gap was narrowed to 11 in a defensive battle. Doot over everybody. A little short, but it goes right to Austin Terveen and the fresh 35 for the Knights. Camden Cece has shown some flashes of brilliance as a sophomore, but they have kept him from finding space. He tried to move it on Ewing and couldn't do so, so he retreats to the wing and then bounces a pass right into the hands of Ewing. Up ahead, Johnson finishing it off just ahead of Terveen. And Washington has a 6-point lead. And so Lucas Johnson now with 10 for Washington. Knights unable to score again. Hoffman to the rack. Tried to funnel it underneath. Ewing picked it up. Woods is right there. Can't finish, but he's right there again. 6'3", full of muscle, leaping in the air, unstoppable. A dozen, making a baker's dozen for Jace Woods. A 28-20 Washington lead, and a timeout for O'Gorman. And we'll stay right here. We'll stay right here. It's a 30-second timeout. John Gaskins at the Knight Gymnasium. Earlier tonight, the O'Gorman girls extended their win streak to 41 with an 87-60 victory over the Warriors, who came in as the number 2 team in the state. A pair of teams that have gone back and forth winning state titles since 2021. Washington, then O'Gorman, then Washington, then O'Gorman last year. Here's a look at the last play we just saw. I mean, how do you defend that? I mean, I'm guessing Derek Roby wants Neon Duke to defend that a little harder. But Jace Woods can be an imposing, intimidating figure. 28-20. He has almost half of Washington's points. So what did O'Gorman do and learn and drop in the timeout? Not that. Guess who's getting his mitts near the ball? Misdirecting passes, forcing a turnover in the backcourt. It's Jace Woods playing in the front court on offense and being effective in the backcourt on defense. Good ball movement. Hoffman for 3. Yes, sir! Tommy Hoffman with a first Dakota 3, his second of the night. He has 10. Make that 8. I have 10. The scoreboard has 8. It's an 11-point lead, the biggest of the game for Washington, and their fans, their students behind the bench get into it. Clark for 3. A little short arm, and Jace Woods flies in for the rebound. Knights got back on defense quickly for that one. 2:20 before half. Momentum on Washington's side. 9-0 run. Woods inside again. Beautiful hesitation move. Got Terveen to fly by him. Another mismatch. 15 for Jace Woods. It's 33-20. Mason Clark looks back at Derek Roby, wants a play. I think Derek Roby just told him, go play. I'm not going to call a play. You go play. You guys figure it out. I may be wrong. Austin Terveen. Oh, what a move. But the shot doesn't hit the rim, and it goes out of bounds off of Sprecher for Washington. It is an 11-0 Warrior run after this game was nip and tuck for the first quarter and a half. Verhey in, and Lucas Johnson out for Washington. John Lent on the inbounds. Now Mason Clark flying it up top. Man-to-man Washington defense. Terveen lost his footing between Verhey and Hoffman, and apparently that was a hack on the arm. Thought he just got tripped up, but it's a Washington foul on Ben Ewing, who will take a seat on the bench. Sam Ewing, I should say. There's Ben Sprecher and Sam Ewing. Knights in bad need of a bucket. It's been a while. A few minutes. Clark trying to create something. Things remain clogged up in that high post. Now a baseline drive and a bucket and a foul for Caleb Terveen. A hack on the arm on Brennan Verhey. And so a chance at a three-point play for Caleb Terveen. Lucas Johnson, an all-conference player as a junior, did not sit down long. He's back. It's been Johnson, Woods, and Hoffman, three of the four leading scorers for Washington coming into the game. They're three leading scorers tonight. Jace Woods at 15 points a game, catching the ball right there. He has passed his average of 7 already. Hoffman would have been his third First Dakota three, not quite. Caleb Terveen corralled the rebound. It's an 11-point Washington lead. Can the Knights strike late in the first half? Lent gets inside, and an easy bucket right over Sprecher. John Lent with his third and fourth points. Inside a minute to go in the first half. It's a 9-point Washington lead. An 11-0 run, now followed up by 4 in a row for O'Gorman. What a play, what a pass. Hoffman can't finish, collides with Bjorkman. And the Knights, not knowing it's only 4 on 5, and Mason Clark trying to create something, barrels into one of the Warriors and draws a foul. 42 seconds remaining in the first half. Jace Woods with his second, and I believe that's going to force Jeff Tobin into taking Jace Woods off the floor for the final 42 seconds of this first half, as the first free throw from Clark misses, and Woods does take a seat, deferring to Sam Glassrud. Mason Clark, a 68% free throw shooter on the year. That was his first attempt of the night. And he cuts the lead down to 8. 36 game clock, 30 on the shot clock. Washington trying to keep this three-possession upper hand going into the break. So far, just keeping it around the arc. When will they attack the paint? Nowhere to go. Now a double team. Baskin underneath, draws a crowd. Oh, what a reverse lay-in. Sam Baskin, that may have been his first shot attempt of the night, and it was a beauty. 35-25. With 3. Bjorkman's 3 is no good, and that is the end of the first half. Washington finishes it on a 13-5 run and takes a 10-point lead into the locker room. On the road, it's the 5th-ranked Warriors 35 and the Knights 25 in the latest chapter of the oldest rivalry in high school basketball in the city of Sioux Falls. We'll have some highlights, some stats. Halftime is next on our Rivera Game of the Week on Metro Sports TV and DakotaNewsNow.com.
Have dreams. At South Dakota State University, we dare to dream big. From the arts to the sciences, students and faculty discover what is possible and solve complex problems, challenging ourselves to think differently and impact our world. With SDSU, reaching to the stars starts on solid ground. Experience our elevated approach to education that prepares students to walk toward their future and build something greater.
This guy had more issues with his eyes. The minute he first came out of surgery, he walked in with a huge grin on his face, and for the first time since he was a little kid, he could see perfect.
Going to Vance Thompson Vision was an easy experience. If you're going to trust your eyes to anybody, trust them to a leader in that field.
When it came time for me to make a decision about where we were going to go for my LASIK surgery, there was no question that it would be Vance Thompson Vision.
Starting with First Bank in South Dakota was the easy part, earning the confidence of local farmers, helping families account for their dreams, and securing the future for countless businesses took us a little longer. We owe it to the hard workers, big dreamers, and forward thinkers out there. Thank you for making South Dakota a great place to call home.
In nursing, where you work matters. At Avera, we build Team Green around you. With a culture that values and supports you. Leaders who listen and care about your success. And benefits to reward the great work you do. The grass is greener at Avera. So join Team Green. Learn more at avera.org/careers.
Experience it all. Follow your academic and career goals and your love for the arts, music, and competition that thrills you. Learn from award-winning faculty and in classes where you are more than a number. Build lifelong friendships at game day experiences and in student organizations for all interests. At Augustana, you don't have to choose. Live and learn in the heart of South Dakota's largest city, where job opportunities, networks of professionals, and a hometown feel await you. Find your bold at Augustana University.
Dakota News Now at 9 on Fox Sioux Falls. Your first and only local news in primetime. 1 hour to focus on the headlines of the day, plus breaking news as it happens. 1 hour to provide in-depth coverage of the biggest stories, alerting you first to what impacts you and your family's safety. 1 hour to give you a more detailed look at your first alert forecast, updating you every 5 minutes so you can prepare for tomorrow's forecast tonight. Dakota News Now at 9 on Fox Sioux Falls. Your first alert station.
You can't afford to have cloudy vision flying an aircraft. You have to have perfect vision. It's vital. I came here 4 years ago to Vance Thompson Vision and had my first light adjustable lens. About 5 weeks ago I came and had the second one done. It's just the technology is out of this world, is outstanding, you know. There's nothing else like it in the world. But even if I could get it done in Dubai or Tokyo or Singapore, I wouldn't do it except here, only at Vance Thompson Vision.
Private school on a Friday night in our Avera game of the week. It's Sioux Falls, Washington 35, O'Gorman 25, second leg of a doubleheader. The Knights looking for the sweep, but they have an uphill battle to get it after their top-ranked girls squad won their 41st straight, 87-60 in the first game. John Gaskins on your halftime show, Avera game of the week. Let's take a look at some highlights in the first half. This one was a great battle to about the midway point of the first quarter, or first half, or second quarter, third time's a charm. There's Naeem Dute, speaking of things in threes, one of the Knights' 4 First Dakota threes of the first half. Even battle, both teams coming in with 5 losses. Washington with 9 wins, O'Gorman with 11. Tommy Hoffman was hot early, the leading scorer for Washington, averaging 14 coming in. He finishes with 10 in that first half. He had 2 First Dakota threes. O'Gorman would answer. Our player to watch for the Knights, Austin Terveen, with a beautiful fadeaway on the baseline. And he's had his moments, 7 points, halfway to his average. And meanwhile, Hoffman, just with some perfect body control, putting on the brakes around John Lent to finish off a Washington fast break. The true horse tonight for both of these teams has been Jace Woods, number 22 for Washington. On this particular possession, Nyan Dut got tied up in the lane, but Woods has 15 points. I think it's 15. Yeah, he has 7 field goals and a free throw. Jace Woods has 15 points to lead all scorers in this game. There's Woods with the ball in his hands. I mean, not a great perimeter shooter, and he hasn't needed to show it yet, but you showed the danger he can do well away from the basket when he gets downhill. And then he can also cut, be on the receiving end of a basket, and just a 6'3" frame, probably the highest vertical leap of any basketball player in the state, and just so tough to defend when he's anything close to open. Even when he's well defended, I mean, he just gets his own rebound and puts it back up, and Nyan Dut had no answers. So it was the Jace Woods show in the first half. 15 of Washington's 35 points. Hoffman had 10. Lucas Johnson had 10. So that's almost your entire Washington scoring ledger. And those 3 have given the Warriors a 10-point lead. O'Gorman a little more balanced, 7 for Terveen. And then for his twin brother Caleb, Austin's twin brother Caleb, he has 6. Mason Clark has added 5. And John Lent and Nyan Dut each have 3 for O'Gorman. Both teams are back out on the floor. The Knights nipped the Warriors by a point a month ago at Washington. Will the Warriors get their revenge? They're halfway home. Second half is next on our Avera Game of the Week. Metrosports.tv and DakotaNewsNow.com.
To have cloudy vision flying an aircraft, you have to have perfect vision. It's vital. I came here 4 years ago, Advanced Thompson Vision, and had my first light adjustable lens. About 5 weeks ago I came and had the second one done. It's just the technology is out of this world, is outstanding, you know. There's nothing else like it in the world. But even if I could get it done in Dubai or Tokyo or Singapore, I wouldn't do it except here. Only Advanced Thompson Vision.
Here at Touchmark at All Saints, you're going to be surrounded by history.
When you drive up to our community, you are impressed by the beautiful campus all around. This community is a combination of the old and the new. The old on the exterior, but your apartments are impressive. I've never been so pampered in my life.
So it's the combination of both the history and modernization that makes it fun and enjoyable.
Starting the first bank in South Dakota was the easy part, earning the confidence of local farmers, helping families account for their dreams, and securing the future for countless businesses took us a little longer. We owe it to the hard workers, big dreamers, and forward thinkers out there. Thank you for making South Dakota a great place to call home.
One half of play left in our doubleheader from 41st and Kiwanis Street in Sioux Falls. It's green uniform night when the old rivals from Sioux Falls, Washington are in town, a tradition that was started a long time ago. O'Gorman used to be Cathedral High School, next to the old cathedral in downtown Sioux Falls. Washington High School used to be Sioux Falls High School, and what is now the Washington Pavilion downtown. And the Warriors moved out 34 years ago. The Knights moved over here 64 years ago, and ever since, when these two teams play, O'Gorman will sport green, the old color of Cathedral. And the Knights are on defense to start the second half, down by 10. Jace Woods for Washington, wearing number 22, currently at the free throw line with Jackson Bjorkman. He's your leading scorer with 15, and he bolted down the lane right past Bjorkman. Baskin waited to bounce it to him on a perfect lay-in. The Washington offense looks nifty tonight, and Woods now has 17. Asked before the game started what matchup he was most concerned about, Derek Roby said Woods, who had the ball stripped away from him before he got the bounce pass from Tommy Hoffman on the break, and now we go to a foul call. Tommy Hoffman ripping off the steal for Washington after the opening bucket. But Jace Woods whistled for the foul. That's his third, and he has to check out. Roby said Woods is a handful. We must keep him off the glass. And so far, not so good for the Knights, but keeping him on the bench, that's what they like to see. It's a 12-point game, and let's see how things get affected from this point. It's Washington's biggest lead. We're a minute into the third quarter. Caleb Terveen into a triple team, nowhere to go, flips it to Bjorkman. Bjorkman hangs it high. No Jace Woods down there to misdirect that shot. 6'3" with leaping ability, and right away the difference is made, and then O'Gorman gets a steal on a long pass. The Knights do not have the numbers, so they'll get into their half court. Doot will just take a three and knock it down. Neon Doot with a pair of trays in this game. It's 37-30, just like that. 5 points in a row for O'Gorman with Woods on the bench. Hoffman inside. Nice little turnaround on Mason Clark. No answer. Tommy Hoffman has a dozen. Future Southwest Minnesota State quarterback. 9-point Washington lead. Austin Terveen, the Knights' leading scorer. Up top to Doot. Hot hand. Another one! Nayun Doot warming up. 3 First Dakota threes. Just 2 minutes into the second half. Doot with 9. It's a 6-point game. Meanwhile, Hoffman on a backdoor cut, gets double teamed, zings a pass down low. Verhey can't finish, got his own rebound. Brennan Verhey trying to fill that space and that gap with Woods on the bench. Lays it in. Big second chance bucket to give Washington an 8-point lead. Clark knocking down Hoffman. But Hoffman's feet were not set. He's whistled for the block. It's Washington's second foul of the second half. So one wonders, how long will Jace Woods be on that Warrior bench? Might depend on their advantage. Right now it's 8 points. They can just keep holding on to 2, 3, 4 possessions toward the end of the third quarter. Maybe he stays there. But if O'Gorman gets on a big run, takes a lead, they're going to need him, clearly. Austin Terveen into a triple team again. He's been triple teamed all night when he tries to get the ball and move with it. But this time he draws a foul on Tommy Hoffman. Hoffman's third. So Washington's 2 leading scorers in this game, the 2 players the Knights have had the most trouble defending, are out with 5.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. They have 3 fouls apiece. So O'Gorman has already taken advantage of Woods being on the bench. Doot, how about another? Nayun Doot on fire. 3 trays in the first 3 minutes of the second half, and the lead is down to 5. And this place is all of a sudden back to electric. And Jeff Tobin calls a 30-second timeout for his Washington Warriors, who were up by at least a dozen when Jace Woods checked out about a minute and a half ago. And now the lead has been cut in half and then some. 41-36. You're just seeing the absence of the strength and athleticism inside and on all spaces of the court. To boot, he's long. He has big, long arms. He misdirects passes in the backcourt. And as Derek Roby said, he's a handful, but he's on the bench with 3 fouls, and so is Washington's experienced point guard Tommy Hoffman. So how are they going to handle the ball? Will O'Gorman start really full court pressing, knowing that Washington doesn't have its usual main man with the ball in his hands, Tommy Hoffman, in that backcourt? So Tobin calls the timeout. you knew O'Gorman had a run in them. This is a team that has won 9 of its last 12, lost by just 11 in a battle with number 2 ranked Lincoln on Tuesday night. Woods is back in the game with 3 fouls, and he immediately draws a foul inside on the double team. I mean, there's little doubt the instructions were to get physical as they can with Woods. Trying to prevent any easy buckets. He has 17 tonight. And the Warriors get the ball inbounded. Shot fake at the top of the key. Here's Woods out on the wing. Dangerous. Runs into Lent. Draws the foul. Lent disagrees. But Jace Woods immediately comes back into the game and impacts it. And the Warriors have had the ball for the last 30, 35 seconds. Now he's at the line. Now Washington fans are hoping all that tidal wave of momentum that O'Gorman had with Woods off the bench for just a couple minutes is dwindling. Makes his first free throw. Woods 63% on the year. He is now 2 of 4 tonight. Neither of those had any doubt. And so he comes in to stabilize things, and Jeff Tobin puts him back on the bench. And this will be a workout for Washington head coach Jeff Tobin, how he's going to manage Woods and Hoffman with 3 fouls. So far, so good. Got Woods in there. They stopped O'Gorman's run. Got a couple points on the board. Woods has 19. The lead back to 7. Now Dute. Up top, Austin Terveen. To Caleb Terveen. Not quite. Cece the rebound. Back to Terveen. That one won't go. Lent gets the board, and they'll go to the line. The 3rd foul tonight on Sam Ewing for Washington. 4th team foul, so O'Gorman gets 2 free throw attempts on every Washington foul the rest of the quarter after this one. Lent makes his first free throw attempt of the evening. He's now 7 of 13 on the year. Austin Terveen chatting with head coach Derek Roby. Before the Warriors, or the Knights get back on defense, Lent makes the second free throw. He has 7 points. 5-point game. We have a good one here on a Friday night. 2 oldest schools in Sioux Falls, Washington and O'Gorman. Pair of teams that average 60 and give up an average of 57. Both teams with 5 losses. It was a 1-point game a month ago. Hoffman back off the bench, too strong on his 3, but the rebound went to Spector, who got it to Baskin, who's now at the free throw line. Back to Spector off the bench. Washington's subs need to come up big without Woods in the game. Spector, a much smaller body, trying to sneak his way. That was Johnson sneaking his way in on Terveen, and it got swatted away. Here comes Austin Terveen, the pull-up. In there. And O'Gorman has cut this right back down to 3. Woods goes away. O'Gorman gets 4 in a row. What do you know? I am not Hubie Brown, but that's my diagnosis. Woods is in, it's a problem. Woods is out, O'Gorman pounces. And now they got the students into it, chanting defense. Hoffman is in with 3 fouls, now Baskin. And Woods is back in the game. Here he is squaring up with Dute. Now Hoffman faking a 3, back to Woods. Woods being baited to shoot a 3, he won't. Down to 3 on the shot clock, Hoffman! No! It's loose and Baskin has it. He takes a 3. That's short. Cece gets the board. Up ahead to Terveen. He'll drive on Woods and Baskin and draw the foul. Well, decent court awareness by both Baskin and Woods. You have Caleb Terveen on the drive. Woods has 3 fouls. You want him to make the shot and the layup hard for Caleb Terveen. Terveen creeps that free throw in. He's 3 of 3. But I'm going to guess Baskin knew I'm the guy that has to get the foul here. If it's going to be somebody, it's going to be me. And he almost undercut Terveen, barreled into him. And Terveen makes both free throws. That's not a good transgression for Washington. They're only up by 1 now. They were once up by 12 earlier in this quarter before Woods' third foul. But at the least, they prevent Woods' fourth foul. But they can't get a deep shot from sophomore Easton Miller. And now the outlet, Woods on Dute. And Woods draws the foul. Knight students burst in protest. There was contact. And so Jace Woods back to the line. He is 2 of 4 there tonight. He has 19 points in this game. And his first free throw off the front of the rim. Jace Woods averages 7 points a game. He had 15 in the first half. I mean, O'Gorman had no answers. And the only answer here in the second half was his third foul. Got him to the bench a couple times. And off the miss, Lucas Johnson gets himself a trip to the foul line. Got the board in front of John Lent. Once again, O'Gorman fans wail. That is the Knights' fourth team foul, but this was on a putback, so Johnson gets 2 free throws. Lucas Johnson had 10 first half points. That's his first of the second half and his first free throw attempt of the game. Woods back to the bench. So Jeff Tobin has taken Woods in and out twice since that third foul a minute and a half into the second half. Washington was up a dozen. And now it's only 3. Johnson makes the second free throw. So again, I feel like a broken record, but it's worth watching. Will O'Gorman pounce now that Jace Woods is on the bench? They're taking their time on this possession. Dute has 3 3-pointers in this quarter. He's going to go to the rack this time. Can't make the hanger, but got his own rebound and putback. I have a feeling Neon Dute, well, inspired by the damage Jace Woods is doing on both sides of the floor, putting on his own little show. Hoffman missing the 3. He's gone a little cold lately after a great start. But Washington getting another offensive board. Sprecher driving in on Bjorkman. Dumps it off. Verhey tied up. Now Sprecher for 3 from the corner. Oh, that pinball's in and out. And a pushing foul whistled on O'Gorman. The Warriors may have lost their big lead in the last few minutes, but they are still getting a bountiful, a mighty, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, they're getting bountiful offensive rebounds. I'll go with bountiful. Tobin almost put Woods in and decided against it. With 1:25 remaining in the third and Woods still on 3 fouls, 19 points. And meanwhile, Tommy Hoffman cans his first free throw. 77% on the year. That was his first attempt of the night. And the second one goes as well. That was Caleb Terveen's first foul. Both teams with 5, so for the final 80 seconds, every foul results in a trip to the free throw line for both teams to shoot 2. Offensive foul is whistled on O'Gorman with Terveen in the backcourt. And that is on Nayun Dute, who I'm guessing had an illegal screen. Both teams just a revolving door with their benches. Both teams go 4 or 5 deep, and they're certainly letting the turnstiles fly tonight. 3-point Washington lead. That's a rare time tonight where the Warriors haven't taken care of the ball. Slipping and not quite corralling it is Sam Ewing. Tommy Hoffman, again, he has 3 fouls to go with his 14 points. He'll take a seat with 58 seconds remaining in the quarter. And so does Jace Woods, who has now gone in and out 3 times since his third foul early in the quarter. It was Washington by 12 then, O'Gorman by 9 since. 3-point Washington lead. Lent calling for the ball. Gets it. Then down the lane. Can't fall. Wanted a foul. Johnson the rebound. 1 second difference between game clock and shot clock in the third quarter. So the Warriors appear to be hanging on to it for dear life, and this lead for dear life. Full gym, Friday night, competitive game, big swings, big performances. Got a big fourth quarter coming up. How will Washington finish the third? A 3-ball off the mark, but the putback just before the buzzer is in there. Sprecher, and that is how they finished the third. Big time putback for Ben Sprecher, his first 2 points of the game, and the Warriors go into the fourth quarter with a 5-point lead, looking for the season split on their oldest rival at O'Gorman. 49-44 Washington, and the final 8 minutes, 1 minute away on our Avera Game of the Week.
In nursing, where you work matters. At Avera, we build Team Green around you, with a culture that values and supports you. Leaders who listen and care about your success, and benefits to reward the great work you do. The grass is greener at Avera, so join Team Green. Learn more at avera.org/careers.
We all have dreams. At South Dakota State University, we dare to dream big. From the arts to the sciences, students and faculty discover what is possible and solve complex problems, challenging ourselves to think differently and impact our world. With SDSU, reaching to the stars starts on solid ground. Experience our elevated approach to education that prepares students to walk toward their future and build something greater.
We'll have a very interesting chess match these last 8 minutes. Jeff Tobin, Derek Roby, their teams evenly matched. A 1-point win for O'Gorman a month ago on Washington's floor. Now tonight in the Knight Gymnasium, a 5-point Washington lead. The Warriors' 2 leading scorers tonight, who have combined for 34 points, both have 3 fouls. They're both on the floor to start the fourth, and Neon Dude has been the hot hand for O'Gorman tonight, and he got it warmed up again. He had 3 trays in the third quarter. He has 16 points, and it's a 3-point game. Sam Baskin, just 2 points tonight, being a distributor. Lobs it inside the Woods, matching up on Dude. Ball got loose. Hoffman picks it up. Terveen got a hand on it, out of bounds. This game has been physical all night, and that level has elevated. And there you go. Hoffman to Woods on the inbounds pass. 21 for Jace Woods. How high can he leap? That is impossible to defend. So if you're just tuning in, you can see why when Woods was not on the floor, O'Gorman was knifing back, and there's a 3-pointer for Austin Terveen. 12 points, 51-49, a First Dakota 3. The second tonight for Austin, and now a double dribble on Tommy Hoffman. And he's trying to get an explanation. That's not going to happen. Hoffman with 3 fouls. Woods with 3 fouls. Washington just trying to toe the line, hang on to a once dozen-point lead. O'Gorman with a chance to tie or take the lead. Dude forcing the 4th foul on Woods. High-level basketball IQ move, Neon Dude. Just gets a little twitch going, and he baits Woods into a foul. And now Washington in a danger zone. They're going to have to learn how to score some points, make some stops without their thoroughbred tonight. Woods only averages 7, but he has 21 tonight. A lot of contact at midcourt on the loose ball. Hoffman gets back on defense as Caleb Trevine retreats. Now Neon Du with that Woods guarding him into the lane. Can't let it fall. That was a great move, though, with 4 bodies around him. He elevated above all of them. And Washington avoids a tie. Now they can go back up by 2 possessions. Baskin won't take the long shot. He will drive and kick it out. And Johnson, no. And Bjorkman comes up with it for O'Gorman. 6 minutes to play. As evenly matched teams as we'll have all season long on our Rivera Game of the Week. And Derek Roby starts playing the chess game right now. He calls a full timeout with 5:54 remaining and a 51-49 lead. We'll take it with them. O'Gorman by 2 with the ball on our Rivera Game of the Week.
Experience it all. Follow your academic and career goals and your love for the arts, music, and competition that thrills you. Learn from award-winning faculty and in classes where you are more than a number. Build lifelong friendships at game day experiences and in student organizations for all interests. At Augustana, you don't have to choose. Live and learn in the heart of South Dakota's largest city, where job opportunities, networks of professionals, and a hometown feel await you. Find your bold at Augustana University.
This guy had more issues with his eyes. The minute he first came out of surgery, he walked in with a huge grin on his face, and for the first time since he was a little kid, he could see perfect.
Going to Vance Thompson Vision was an easy experience. If you're going to trust your eyes to anybody, trust them to a leader in that field.
When it came time for me to make a decision about where we were going to go for my LASIK surgery, there was no question that it would be Vance Thompson Vision.
In the battle for number 1, Lincoln beats Brandon Valley tonight in Brandon, 69-58, 1 versus 2. Brandon Valley came in 1, Lincoln 2. That will reverse on Monday. Here it's a battle for number 5. O'Gorman down by 2 with the ball, under 6 to go off the timeout. A little helter-skelter, but they get a 3 from the right wing that can't fall for Austin Trevine, their leading scorer, and now a foul on the rebound attempt. Or it's just out of bounds, off of O'Gorman. Sam Baskin bringing it down for Washington. Tommy Hoffman, their usual point guard, in the game with 3 fouls. Jace Woods leading all scorers with 21, the most athletic player on the court, sitting with 21 points and 3 fouls. And a backcourt foul that the Knights would love to have back. Brennan Verhey is a good player. Not one you need to worry about so much that you have to foul him, but the Knights were going for the steal, and they pay for it. It's only Austin Trevine's first foul. Hoffman blazing down the baseline, and the ball just sits on the back of the rim. Is this like golf where you give it 30 seconds to fall through? Can someone breathe on it? So Tommy Hoffman's going to get 2 free throws instead of a shot and a 3-point play. File that over to SportsCenter's top 10. Sometimes we see the wedge. The ball getting stuck between the rim and the glass. You rarely are. I don't know if I've ever seen the ball sit on the heel like that. I mean, I'm not going to give my number out, but I'd love somebody to text me. Let me know. Have you ever seen the ball sit on the heel like that? I haven't. Hoffman makes his first free throw. Remember that if this comes down to a 1-point game, like it did at Washington a month ago between these two, O'Gorman won by a point. Hoffman misses a second free throw, so that's 2 points lost on that possession for Washington. The bucket and then one of the free throws. Chance at a 3-point play, they get 1. Other side, and Hoffman just committed his 4th foul. Almost an amazing hoop in its own right. So now Washington's leading scorer coming into the game, Tommy Hoffman, has 4. Jace Woods about to check in with 4. He's been their best player tonight and the hardest to stop. And here he comes, in for Verhey. Meanwhile, Mason Clark made his first free throw. Gorman with a balanced attack tonight. They've had 16 from Neon Dute, who averages 9 a game. 12 from Austin Terveen, missed free throw Clark, and Baskin bats the ball to Lucas Johnson. He gets harassed by Terveen and Dute and gets out of it. Still a 2-point Washington lead, both teams struggling free throws. Woods bats the ball to himself, gets the reverse to go! If you had not watched this game all night long, and then you saw this, you'd figure that guy probably has 23 points and about 8 rebounds. Taking over. And a chance at a 3-point play off the second foul on Caleb Terveen, and Woods nails it. He struggled at the line tonight. He's now 3 of 7. Biggest bucket of the game. Washington now up by 5. Stellar game. Fun game. Lent inside, and Woods would not challenge that. He wants to stay in the game. Lent cuts the lead to 3. Off a nifty pass. Woods again. Dute guarding him. And Dute gets the block. Ignites the student section. O'Gorman down by 3, 4 minutes left. Settle in. Buckle up. Terveen down the lane. Got it to go. It's a 1-point game. Hoffman did not want to commit his 5th foul. So even though these two are in the game, their foul count certainly affecting their choices and helping O'Gorman get to within a point. And Jeff Tobin has called a full timeout that we'll take with him. Just under 4 to go. It's O'Gorman trailing Washington 55-54 on our Avera Game of the Week.
More than 40 years of experience providing great hospitality and focusing on providing seniors the full life. We have restaurant-style dining. We have a health and fitness club, wonderful life enrichment activities. We have wonderful team members who are here to be your support systems and your friends. Health services care team members who will help you in any level of care, assisted living, and then 2 levels of memory care and early memory care support. All of those things are at your fingertips when you're here at All Saints.
Banking isn't just about financial products. It's about service and what we can do for you. Those personal touches are at the core of who we are at Central Bank. Decisions are made locally by people who get to know you. And while a lot has changed since 1877, we're still committed to our customers and to being the best bank in every community we serve. Central Bank, member FDIC.
Down the stretch we come at O'Gorman. Washington leading the Knights 55-54. Warriors once up by 12. They are exchanging haymakers the last couple of minutes. Tommy Hoffman, senior point guard, driving in on Caleb Terveen. No basket, but a foul before the shot. It is O'Gorman's 4th team foul. It's the 3rd on Caleb Terveen. And so the Warriors will inbound it underneath their own hoop. Tommy Hoffman over to the corner. Johnson missed his 3. He's gone cold. He had 10 points in the first half. And Lucas Johnson with just a couple free throws in the second half. Jace Woods leads all scorers with 24 for Washington. He's in the game with 4 fouls at the top there. And now it's Neon Dute, another 3. Oh my goodness! Neon Dute with his 5th First Dakota 3-pointer, and O'Gorman has its first lead of the game. Hoffman to take it back. A little to the right, batted right back to Johnson, a fresh 35 for the Warriors. Johnson's just going to take it, though, off the back iron, and a foul from behind Sam Ewing. And now the Warriors have 3 fouls. 3 minutes remaining, 4th quarter. Sam Baskin checks in for Sam Ewing. The battle within the battle. Jace Woods with 24. Neon Dude with a career-high 19 for O'Gorman, and now the Knights with the ball and a chance for a multiple possession lead. And Woods gets his hand on the ball, one-on-one with Lent. And Lent gets the steal without fouling. Mark that down as one of the biggest plays of the game. The Knights get a second chance at a 2-possession lead. Terveen, what a move with the left hand. And Derek Roby calls a timeout, pumps his fist. The Knights up by 4 with 2.5 minutes remaining. And on a nice, smooth 9-0 run. 59-55. Austin Terveen hasn't looked as flashy as Jace Woods and Neon Dude tonight, but he's making some big, important baskets, especially the drives through the traffic that the Knights have needed to claw back into this game after trailing by 12 early in the third period. This was a 10-point Washington lead at halftime. Jace Woods had 15 first-half points. He was the player that Derek Roby was most concerned about for his Knight defense, describing Woods as a handful. And the junior, who will be playing Power 5 conference football somewhere in a couple of years, committed his 4th foul late in the third quarter, his 3rd foul early in the third quarter. And ever since then, O'Gorman's chipped away. Woods has still made some big buckets, some big defensive plays. But meanwhile, Neon Dude, who Derek Roby has switched to defend Woods, has been lighting it up with 4 3-pointers in this second half and has 19 points. So 59-55, a 9-0 O'Gorman run off the timeout. Washington with 3 timeouts. O'Gorman with 2 left in the game, and Cece gets the steal. Here comes Camden Cece driving in on Hoffman. And he has forced Tommy Hoffman out of the game. Camden Cece, a junior. His brother, a starter and a star at Lincoln. Quiet all night. But he just made the loudest play so far down the court, and Tommy Hoffman, Washington's senior point guard, will have no stake in this game but to watch from the bench the rest of the way. Jace Woods, the leading scorer in the game with 24 points, is currently on the bench as well. So things are not in Jeff Tobin and Washington's favor, down by 4. And CeCe's first free throw is in. Cece, a transfer. Great games as of late against Pierre and Rapid City Central. And he now gives O'Gorman a 6-point lead, and the Knights are on an 11-0 run. That foul trouble on Hoffman and Woods has finally caught up with the Warriors. They need a bucket bad. They get one. Great spacing. Beautiful pass. The timing. Johnson to Sam Ewing. His first 2 of the night. It's a 4-point game. Now the Washington students getting into it. A nearly full gym. 2 oldest high schools in Sioux Falls. Evenly matched rivals. Dute for the knockout! Neon Dute has seized the spotlight. He has 6 trays. Baskin finishes off a quick bucket on the other end. Washington cuts it to 5. And maybe that wasn't the knockout punch by Neon Dute. 6 First Dakota threes for Neon Dute. 22 points. And the Knights up by 5, a 30-second timeout called by Washington, and so 2 of those apiece. The Warriors are out of the ball handling and the scoring firepower of their point guard, Tommy Hoffman. Lucas Johnson, who had 10 points in that first half, might need to emerge here. He's your primary scorer for the Warriors. Jace Woods still not on the floor. And so the Knights in full command. with this 5-point lead. The Warriors will try a full court press. A career night for Neon Dute. He inbounds it to Austin Terveen, whose 16 points look underwhelming, mainly because Dute keeps lighting it up from the outside. CC scrambling around. Seems uber confident in handling the ball in this big of a spotlight. Now Austin Terveen to Lent, the finish. It's a 7-point O'Gorman lead. That may be your dagger. Baskin harassed in the backcourt. And we have an illegal screen set on the Warriors. It is on Sam Baskin, his second. Jeff Tobin, the Washington head coach, furious at the call. And the O'Gorman Knights are now on a 16-4 run. And they go for the touchdown pass. Here's Caleb Terveen, the reverse. No. Lentz tips it to himself. Yes! A 9-point lead. The whistle's blew, and there appears to be confusion on the clock. 68-59. It is an 18-4 O'Gorman run after Washington took a 55-50 lead midway through this quarter. When you consider these teams are both grappling currently for the number 5 seed and ranking in the state, a pivotal game. And you also have to wonder, will they meet again? The chances are slim in the state tournament, unless there's a few upsets ahead of them. But man, if they did, what a rubber match that would be. Deep three. Good! Sam Ewing knocks it down to give Washington a little life, a 6-point game with 43 seconds remaining. Jeff Tobin uses one of those 2 timeouts left. 68-62. Both Tommy Hoffman and Jace Woods, Washington's 2 best players tonight, have been knocked out of the game with 5 fouls apiece, and it is no coincidence that O'Gorman has taken full advantage of it. Both the foul trouble before they were fouled out, but certainly it's been a runaway freight train ever since when O'Gorman has the ball. They've been avoiding fouls. They've just been able to get downhill and get to the rack. And that's when Neon Dute is not reining in 3-pointers. 6 of them for the 6'4 senior. A career high. And so Washington in scramble mode now. 44 seconds remain, down by 6. O'Gorman gets the ball. These Knights are looking for their 10th win in 13 games. Derek Roby really likes this team and the way it shares the ball. And he thinks that's the key for O'Gorman to make some sort of a big run. Get themselves into the conversation. The Knights turn it over, and they get the ball inside. Sprecher finishes it off. The full court press works, and now it's 68-64, and Washington takes a full timeout, and that is the Warriors' final timeout. Jeff Tobin knows that each of these possessions defensively are so critical. The last timeout worked. It forced a turnover. And the Warriors would love to gobble up another one to give themselves a chance to make this a one-score game again. 68-64 with about 40 seconds remaining. Again, Lincoln taking back the number 1 ranking in the state with a win over Brandon Valley tonight in Brandon. A pair of evenly matched teams at 14-1. And this one has had some great back and forth. Washington took an early lead. O'Gorman pecked back to within a point. Washington finished the half on a nice run to make it a 10-point game, up by as many as a dozen early in the third. But the Knights are currently on the right end of a major fourth quarter heater. And this time Washington can't get a steal on the inbounds pass. Although O'Gorman is forced to call a timeout, so here we go. We're spending them all. Like they're going out of style, you can't take them with you. So O'Gorman with one timeout left, Washington has none. This will get really interesting if Washington can find a way to make this one possession. O'Gorman will presumably use a timeout. Washington will be out of them, but you're going to leave it into the hands of the kids at this point. Washington with Baskin and Sprecher, Ewing and Verhey. And Lucas Johnson right now, number 14, is the Knights' biggest threat in the scoring column. He has 12 points, but just 2 and no field goals since halftime. He's the one defending John Lent on the inbounds. It goes to Austin Terveen, and O'Gorman's leading scorer and free throw shooter will go to the line. 35 seconds remain. His Knights up by 4. That's the third foul for Brennan Verhey. And so here is Austin Terveen. 16 points to his name, and yet to shoot a free throw. What a time to do it. Rattles it home. 76% on the year. 5-point O'Gorman lead. Camden Sissy, the junior guard, checks back in. He makes everything look so easy breezy. 6-point lead. Washington needing a quick bucket. Long one. Ewing, way off the mark. Out of bounds. 25 seconds left. Washington out of timeouts. Down by 6. A fairly helpless situation now for head coach Jeff Tobin. Cece out. And Neon Dute and his 22 points, his 6 3-pointers inbounding for O'Gorman. Mason Clark hauls it in. And another Washington foul. Still a 2-possession game. This one not over, but we're within a couple of free throws of paying an homage to our friend Tom Frederick and his line in a situation like this. 7-point lead, 3 possessions. Clark makes it. Washington bereft of dynamic scorers and 3-point shooters right now, with the exception of Johnson. And now Mason Clark for an 8-point lead. Got it. And guess what? Johnson, pull up, no. Dute the rebound. Baskin fighting for it. So the Tom Frederick line, it's not over. It's over. It's just not done yet. Thank you. So glad Chad Berger is here to assist me on that. It's an 8-point lead. Here's Verhey. And the Warriors just a little out of sorts. Johnson recovers and nails the 3 with 5 seconds left. It's window dressing on the final score, and we have reached our conclusion. What a battle tonight. The O'Gorman Knights take advantage of Washington foul trouble and dominate down the stretch. 72-67, reversing a 10-point halftime deficit and outscoring Washington 47-32 in the second half. Big win and a season sweep of the Warriors for the Knights. Highlights and our American State Bank Player of the Game coming up on our post-game show on Metrosports.tv and DakotaNewsNow.com.
Time is valuable.
You shouldn't have to wait for the weather forecast.
That's why the First Alert Weather Team is giving you weather every 5 minutes in every newscast.
Every 5 minutes in the morning, every 5 minutes in the evening,
And every 5 minutes on the weekends, too.
focusing on the weather that affects you.
You'll always get the first alert so you can plan ahead.
First Alert weather every 5 minutes. Only on Dakota News Now.
Jackrabbits don't wait to see what the future holds. They build it. At South Dakota State University, the next generation's leaders are preparing to launch. They're focusing on growth, and they're reaching new heights of excellence across vital industries. SDSU is building something greater for South Dakota and the world. Join us.
Finding a place to belong is everything. It's where you can make a difference, where you're heard, where you have a team that supports you, and the benefits you deserve. At Avera, you can find that place. You belong at Avera. Apply today. Avera.org/careers.
Banking isn't just about financial products. It's about service and what we can do for you. Those personal touches are at the core of who we are at Central Bank. Decisions are made locally by people who get to know you. And while a lot has changed since 1877, we're still committed to our customers and to being the best bank in every community we serve. Central Bank, member FDIC.
Josh and Emily are visiting Emily's parents this weekend, where Josh will propose. He's nervous, but not about the ring. Well done, Josh. Well done. Chase is proposing to Ashley at the resort where they first met. Ashley was vacationing with friends, but Chase ended up being her best friend of all, plus some. Every diamond tells a story, but there's no story like yours. And there's no diamond like a Greenberg's diamond. Greenberg's Jewelers, a cut above the rest.
Starting the first bank in South Dakota was the easy part, earning the confidence of local farmers, helping families account for their dreams, and securing the future for countless businesses took us a little longer. We owe it to the hard workers, big dreamers, and forward thinkers out there. Thank you for making South Dakota a great place to call home.
A thriller at the Knight Gymnasium between the two oldest high schools in Sioux Falls, and the O'Gorman Knights skate by the Washington Warriors with a monster fourth quarter, 72-67, improving O'Gorman's record to 12-5. It's the 10th night win in 13 games. Washington falls to 9-6 in a pair of narrow losses to top 6 teams in the last 4 days. Let's get to our Vance Thompson Vision Replay highlights. Highly entertaining game tonight. Neon Dute had the hot hand for O'Gorman in the second half. He had 6 3-pointers in this game, 5 of them after halftime, during which Washington led 35-25. The Warriors actually got up by a baker's dozen early in the third quarter, and the Knights just kept pecking away with more Neon Dute threes. Austin Terveen provided 17 points as well. The big storyline of the second half was Jace Woods, unstoppable in the first half for Washington with 15 points and a couple early buckets, committed his third foul early in the third quarter, and that's when the head coach Jeff Tobin started to have to play the game of when to put Woods in, when to take him out, and when he was not on the floor, that's when O'Gorman started its mighty comeback. But with Woods back in the game, he was getting easy buckets inside. He has the strength, the athleticism, the leaping ability. He was just completely affecting the game in every facet, offense, defense, up and down the floor. But when he wasn't in there, like plays like this, Dute was going inside and making good plays in the lane with his athleticism. And this was not necessarily a one-on-one tug of war, but rarely in a high school basketball game do you see a couple of players score over 20 points. And you had Woods with 24 for Washington tonight, and Dute finishing with 22. And then Austin Terveen, the leading scorer for O'Gorman, getting the big moves when it wasn't Dute making it from the outside. The Knights' passing was crisp, and they knew exactly what to do. They knew to go at Tommy Hoffman and Jace Woods to get them to commit their fourth fouls by the end of the third quarter, their fifth fouls in the fourth quarter. And without those two in the game, it was more Neon Dute, more lights out, and Neon Dute is easily your American State Bank player of the game. I shouldn't say easily, but in a game like this, where the teams are going back and forth, we'll give the guy who had 19 second-half points and 5 3-pointers the prize tonight for the winning team, a 72-67 win for O'Gorman over Washington. 13 points quietly for O'Gorman big man John Lent, who came off the bench tonight. Caleb Terveen had 8 quiet points. It was a lot of Woods and a lot of Dute making the noise. Hoffman had 15 points. Once he was knocked out with Washington trailing by 2 with about 3 minutes left, it was pretty much lights out. Lucas Johnson finished with 12 for Washington, but just 2 after the break. And the rest of it was a smattering of 2 points there, 4 points here, 5 points there. O'Gorman wins by 5. And the Knights move on to go to Harrisburg on Tuesday at 7 p.m. The Tigers, speaking of quiet, just sitting there at number 4 in the state and 13-2. And meanwhile, Washington, the Warriors, I got it here somewhere, will go to the Corn Palace to take on Mitchell on Tuesday. Good luck there. So both teams down the stretch playing in big-time games against some of the tougher teams in the state with a lot of points and seeding on the line for the SODAC 16, the one round, when you're in the state tournament. That event is just 1 month away. A nice preview of some February Fury and March Madness to come. O'Gorman gets the sweep at home tonight. The girls beat Washington 87-60 with their own massive second half. It was a 4-point game at halftime, and the Knights just raced out and stayed ahead. And in this one, the boys come roaring back from a 10-point halftime deficit for the 5-point win. Been a fun night. Love to thank the excellent crew here at Metro Sports TV. Chad Berger leading that crew. And, of course, our Director of Operations, Brad Newitt, and our CEO, Pat Schultz. So for our entire crew, we bid you good night from O'Gorman. I'm John Gaskins. The Knights get the sweep. You can watch this back on the replay, on demand, on Metro Sports TV. And we are back in action on Tuesday night when the Lincoln Patriots, who will be the newly recrowned number 1 team in the state, will be facing the always feisty Roosevelt Rough Riders right here on Metro Sports TV and DakotaNewsNow.com. Good night.
News Now at 9 on Fox Sioux Falls. Your first and only local news in primetime. 1 hour to focus on the headlines of the day, plus breaking news as it happens. 1 hour to provide in-depth coverage of the biggest stories, alerting you first to what impacts you and your family's safety. 1 hour to give you a more detailed look at your first alert forecast, updating you every 5 minutes so you can prepare for tomorrow's forecast tonight. Dakota News Now at 9 on Fox Sioux Falls. Your first